It should be E. E. Right. So I think there's something wrong with my formula. Let me do it again. Yes. So column D, column C, and this. Drag that down. There. Something's working. And then let's copy this. Right. And dapat yung trial balance mo balance, right? So you have to have a total here. Yung total debit mo should actual your total credit. And you can see that may mali na tayo kasi malamang sa malamang match yung ating debit.
Sa sa kabilang sheet po, cash lang yung nakalagay. Tapos yung sa COA is cash on hand.
Thank you. Right. So our validation, it should be 0, right? Let's put that should be 0. So every time it's not 0, that means something is wrong, right? Or you can do a formula here that says if this cell is greater than, it's not equal pala. It's equal to 0, then you say it's okay. Otherwise, say please check. Para lang ma-highlight, right? So that's sort of our validation check. Every time it says please check, something is wrong, right? So bakit daw wrong ito? Kasi yung chart of account mo, yung cash on hand is defined as cash on hand. Strictly say it says cash on hand. But when you're recording your transaction, or when I was recording the transaction, I only said cash here, right? So then I'm not being a thorough bookkeeper, right? So what I will do is fix that. Since yung chart of account is already defined as cash on hand, I have to strictly follow it, right? So cash on hand. Now that I changed the cash on hand, it has now, that figure has been retrieved here, cash on hand 50, right? So now my validation check is now, it's now saying okay. Copy so far? So this is how the trial balance look like. The unadjusted trial balance. Get what I'm saying? Unadjusted because later on we will cover the adjusted or the adjustments, right? It's okay. Is it good so far? Medyo na ano ba kayo sa formula? We'll share this sheet with you later on para lang mapag-aralan yung formula, masundan nyo. Okay? And in QuickBooks, we don't need to do this. Because again, QuickBooks will do everything for us, right? It's automated. The moment you record the transaction, it will do the trial balance. It will update the financial statements. But we're showing this so that you have an understanding of what happens on the back end. You get what I'm saying? So you know the principle behind it. Understand? Are you able to follow? Making sense? Right. So we have only recorded 2 transactions so far, right? And we're gonna add something, right? Because in real life or in business, you will be recording several transactions, right? And so in this example, we are working on a bookkeeping business, right? So let's say, for example, you found your client on the very first month na nag-build ka ng business, right? So, for example, nakapag-render ka ng service sa client mo, or you were able to close an engagement, and yung client mo ay sabihin na natin nagbayad na siya, right? Nagbayad na siya. So, or hindi, sabihin na lang natin, hindi muna siya nagbayad. Nag-render ka na ng service, pero hindi pa siya nagbayad. So, meaning, nag-send ka na ng invoice sa client mo, right? And your service is per bookkeeping client, you charge 5,000 pesos. Right? So, i-record natin yan as a transaction. This is otherwise known as journal entry, guys. Right? This is journal entry where you do debit and where you do credit. You may not be used to doing your journal entry this way, but we're doing it this way in a tabular format because we're using Excel. Okay? So let's say, for example, middle of the month, sinuwerte ka, nakakuha ka ng client agad. So let's say January 16, 25. Again, nag-send ka na ng invoice dun sa client, pero hindi ka pa binayaran, right? So what would likely be your debit? Anong account involved doon? Kapag kunyari, nag-render ka na ng service dun sa client, nag-send ka na ng invoice, hindi ka pa binayaran. Ano likely yung natanggap mo nun? So we'll go back to the definition ni Kathy. Ang debit daw is kung ano yung na-receive mo. So ano likely yung na-receive ng business? Refer ka sa chart of accounts. Alin dito yung pwede mong i-debit? Alin dito yung applicable? Sige nga. Wag nang munang mag-participate yung mga may experience na ha. Doon tayo sa mga wala pang experience. Right? Para lang ma-check natin kung they're able to follow. So sa situation na to, on January 16, you sent your client your very first invoice. Okay? Kasi nag-render ka na ng bookkeeping service sa kanya. The amount is 5,000. So now you want to know how will you record that in your books. Right? So you refer to your chart of accounts. Ano yung pwede mong i-debit doon? Anong pwede mong i-debit sa transaction na ito?
Is
Right?
it service income?
So ano yung na-receive mo?
Service?
Accounts receivable.
Ikaw yung nag-service, diba? So hindi ikaw yung naka-receive. Ikaw yung nag-render ng service. Ikaw yung nagbigay ng service. Ano yung na-receive mo in return for the service?
Service income?
Service income? Ano pa? So ito, service income yung na-receive na-receive na
Accounts
kailangan
receivable.
So
Accounts receivable.
Sige nga, i-challenge kita, JR. So accounts receivable. Ano nga uli yung accounts receivable as an account type? It's an asset, right?
Yeah,
Anong normal balance ng accounts receivable being asset? Is it debit or credit?
debit.
Right. So if we're gonna debit your accounts receivable, what happens to the accounts receivable? Is it increasing or decreasing?
Increasing.
All right. Good. Everyone in agreement? Accounts receivable daw yung na-receive ng bookkeeper. Kaninong business kaya to? Pangalanan na natin. Sino mag-volunteer? Kaninong bookkeeping business to?
Accounts receivable.
JR.
Ang JR,
Yes, sir.
JR's bookkeeping services. O sige, lagay natin ito. JR's bookkeeping services. Para lang may pangalan tayo sa kung sino yung nag-render ng service. Right, JR's bookkeeping services. Sige, so agree tayo lahat. Ang debit is accounts receivable.
Opo.
Okay, accounts receivable, magkano? 5,000. Right, so again, exempted yung mga accountants. Now, di ba sabi natin, every transaction will involve at least 2 accounts. Right? So alam na natin yung debit, accounts receivable. Alam na natin yung natanggap mo. So now, ano yung nilet go mo? Nilet go ni JR on this date. Ano yung nilet go niya? Okay. Service. So nagserbisyo siya na wala yung oras niya, di ba? Nakuhanan yung oras niya because he gave it away. Right? So kung service, balikan natin yung chart of accounts. Ano dito yung pwede nating i-enter sa ating journal entry? What account most likely would it be?
Service income. Service
Service
income.
income. Okay. So sabi dito, account type ng service income is income. Ano nga uli yung normal balance ng income? Is it debit or credit?
Credit.
Credit. So pag ang income ay credit, what would happen to the income? Is it increasing or decreasing?
Increasing.
Increasing.
Increasing. Okay,
Yes.
so that's what we do. We're gonna record service income. Debit ba or credit?
Credit.
Credit. Right. So lagay natin dito to record invoice sent to client. Something like that. Right? So what happens now to our unadjusted trial balance? Pag-update siya, di ba? Tingnan nyo. So now, there you have their service income 5,000, di ba? Tapos naka-receive ka din ng accounts receivable 5,000, wala naman to kanina, di ba? Now your total debit is now 130, your total credit is also 130. Yung validation natin is still okay, correct? So what happens kung nagkamali ka dito, service income, instead of debiting, you're crediting it. Or instead of crediting it, you debited it. So what would happen to your unadjusted trial balance? Nag-disbalance ka na,
Balance.
right? So 135 na yung total debit mo, yung total credit mo is 125. So your validation check is saying, please check because there's a 10,000 variance. You get what I'm saying? Because in this case, your service income is debited, you're decreasing your service income. You get what I'm saying? So, in fact, in here, makikita mo na obvious na may mali ka, right? So, let's fix that. Nakakasunod so far? Nakakasunod so far? Okay, so good. Now, anong possible yung other transaction na mangyayari sa isang buwan sa buhay ng isang bookkeeper? Sige nga, ano kayo. Magbigay kayo ng example. Other than invoice. Ano pa? Rent. O, isang buwan magrerenta na si JR. Magkano kaya yung rent mo, JR? Mamaya na siguro yung rent, no? Kasi madalas ang rent, binabayaran mo end of the month, diba? So mamaya na siguro yun. End of the month.
Purchase of office supplies.
Okay, very good. Office supplies. So, paano kayang purchase of office supplies? Dalawa yan, di ba? Pwede mong bilhin ng cash, pwede mo ding utangin. Tama ba?
Yes.
So, sige, sa ganitong example, ano yung pamaraan ng pagbili ng supply? Is it gonna be in cash or utang?
It's usually on cash basis.
Okay. So, bumibili si JR ng supplies in cash. Magkano kaya yung supplies? Nasa 1,000, 2,000, 3,000? Magkano kaya yung reasonable supplies for a business startup?
10K.
10K. Oh, sige, ang dami sigurong bond papers niyan, ano? Oo, pero wala pa siyang printer, meron na siyang bond paper, di ba? So, sige lang, inuna na yung mga bond paper o mga notebook or kung ano-ano dyan, siguro mga bundles ng mga templated na resibo. Sige na, bibigyan natin. Supplies. Sige. So, supplies. Magre-record ka ngayon ng supplies. Anong gagawin mo? Mayroon bang supplies dito sa chart of accounts? Tingnan natin. Supplies. So, di ba, ang supplies ay expense. So, dito tayo titingin. Meron ba tayong supplies dito?
Office supplies.
Office supplies. Okay, very good. So, let's say we purchased that the day after. So, 1/17/25. So, ano ulit yun? Office supplies. Ano nga yung normal balance ng expense? Is it debit or credit?
Debit.
Debit, right? So since we are increasing the office supplies, we're gonna be debiting it, correct? Tama ba?
Yes
po.
Yes
Right,
po.
10,000. So, we receive office supplies. Ano yung nilet go natin? Ano yung pinakawala ng business?
Cash.
Cash.
Cash. Okay, so 1/17/25. You let go of your cash on hand. Debit or credit?
Credit.
Credit.
All right, credit. All right, so mag-expand tayo to record purchase of supplies. Right? So tingnan natin yung unadjusted trial balance natin. Okay pa tayo, no? Hindi pa tayo nagkakamali. Okay? You are able to follow so far?
Yes po.
Yes.
Yes po.
So, kumplituhin na natin yung transaction for the whole month, for example, 1 month cycle. So, kung may supplies, ano pa kaya pwede nating ilagay na example dito? Di ba? Kung nyari may bond paper, di ba kailangan niya ng printer? Malamang, no? Lalo na kung BIR yung katransact mo. Buti sana kung IRS kasi paperless. Pero kung BIR, kailangan mo mag-print. Tama ba? Sino mga BIR
Yes.
dito? Sa BIR, pwede bang paperless? May paperless na ba sila ngayon?
Yes, meron naman.
Meron na pala. Okay, good. But as a BIR practitioner, can you live without a printer? Can
No
you possibly,
po.
can you
No
possibly
po.
conduct your business without a printer?
No.
Especially when you prepare the financial statements.
All right. Oo, kasi papasignan mo yan, di ba? The
Yes.
client will sign. So, kailangan mo talaga ng printer. So, bibili tayo ng printer. No? Sige, bibili si JR ng printer. Pero wait lang, meron ba tayong printer dito sa chart of accounts natin? Pwede ba natin gamitin yung computer equipment to record the purchase of a printer? What do you guys
Yes po.
Pwede? Or pwede din mag-create na lang tayo ng separate para hindi
Pwede
masyado.
din po mag-create.
So what do you guys suggest? We use computer equipment or mag-create tayo ng printer? What do you guys suggest? Office equipment. Mas okay yung office equipment siguro, no?
Yes, office equipment.
Yes po siguro.
Sige. Let's say office equipment. So ano yung office equipment? Asset pa rin yun, di ba? Okay, so now we can use that account to record. So let's say on the same day, bumili na rin si JR ng office equipment, which is a printer. Office equipment. Magkano bang printer ngayon? Reasonable na printer. 8,000.
8,000.
Sige, 8,000 din. 8,000 yung una ko nakita eh. So, paano kaya i-purchase yung equipment, yung office equipment na to? Inutang niya o binayaran niya ng cash? What do you think?
Credit
Utang.
card.
Nauna si Corazon eh. So, utang. So, 117.25. So,
Credit.
utang. Paano kayong recording ng utang? Tingnan natin yung chart of accounts. Anong pwede natin gamitin dito? So, liability. Tatlo lang yung accounts natin for liability. Merong accounts payable, notes payable, loans payable. Ano kayong pinaka-applicable dito?
Loans payable.
Loans?
Accounts
Or
payable.
Accounts payable.
account
Kasi
siguro? Oo. Sige, gawin natin accounts payable. Hindi naman kasi siya nag-loan eh. Buti sana kung nag-loan siya sa kanyang friend or kanino to buy the equipment, no?
I think equipment versus account
All right.
payable is more better.
Accounts payable is more appropriate.
Accounts payable
We'll use that. So sabi dito office equipment. So ilagay natin dito sa
more better.
sabihin na lang natin to record purchase of a printer, no? Para alam nung accountant or
Credit versus
mag-audit na yung office equipment na pala to ay a printer. Right? Kasi may memo tayo or may remarks tayo. We're going to memo, the remarks. Right? So may office na tayo, supplies, meron na tayong accounts payable, or may office equipment na tayo. Ano pa kaya? The usual transaction for the month. Maybe another
Internet.
Mag-record muna tayo siguro ng more income kasi baka malugi siya sa isang buwan, magbayad na siya ng salary, magbabayad na siya ng
Utilities po.
tapos isa pa lang yung income niya. So mag-record siguro tayo ng more income, ano? Tama? Oo, JR, kung isa lang yung invoice niya. Sa isang buwan, agad siya? Loss agad siya, ano? Sige. So, pabigyan natin. Lagay tayo ng income dito. Um, so, paano kaya to? Kung may income siya na inutang, pwede din siyang may income na nagbayad agad yung kanyang customer ng cash, ano? Right? So, for example, siguro nag-represent siya ng client na may LOA. Di ba? Magkano bang charging na may LOA? Magkano bang charger, Alma, kapag may LOA yung client? Tapos
200K.
200K. Ang laki pala. Sige,
May
nag-down
1
payment
minute.
lang. Nag-down payment lang muna. Kasi 'di ba yung LOA is a long process. So kunyari 200K yung engagement nila ni JR, nag-down payment ng magkano ba? 50%. Sige, nag 50% down payment yung client. Pero wait lang, medyo complex na yan eh. I don't wanna go complex for now. Ayoko mag-deferral muna eh. Kasi dudugo yung ano ng mga kasama natin. Um, Sabihin na natin nag-ano siya. Naglowa na siya, nag-represent na siya. Simple lang na representation sa BIR. Tapos binayaran siya ng cash ng kanyang client. Huwag naman siguro
Pinag-recon lang, sir.
pinag-recon. Okay, very good.
Yes.
So magkano ba yung charge ng pag-recon?
Mga 60 to 70K.
Oh, wow. Mag-BIR na nga din ako. Charet. So, binayaran siya ng cash. Cash on hand, 70,000. Ganyan. Para may cash naman si JR. Kawawa naman pong puro utang yung kanyang customer. So, cash on hand. Tapos, nag-render pa rin siya ng service. Diba? So, copy natin service. Alam niyo na to. Credit pa rin to. Diba? To record. Cash received from doing reconciliation for services for a client. Ganun lang. Para may meaning naman yung ating memo. Right? So, tingnan natin so far yung ating unadjusted trial balance. What's going on there? Diba? So, medyo dumami na yung transactions dito, diba? So, tingnan nyo, yung cash on hand, naging 120K na, diba? So, saan galing yung 120K? Doon, titingnan ka na ngayon sa ledger. Kasi, diba? Tingnan mo, bakit 120K na to? So, titingnan mo yung ledger ng cash on hand. So, merong 50K na na-debit kasi may initial investment. Tapos, may 70K na na-receive because of the reconciliation services. So, 50 plus 70, dapat 120. Pero yung cash natin, 120. Tama, 120. Alright. So, ano daw meaning ng LOA? Letter of authority. Tama. Letter of authority. Yun yung parang kung sa IRS pa notice. CP 200, CP 500, mga ganun. Yan yung LOA. Dapat may due process yan. Oo. So, wag na natin munang i-discuss yan. Kasi hindi naman tayo mag-BBIR. Mag-IRS tayo. Diba? Kasi nga gusto niyo dollars, hindi peso. Magkano ba palitan ng peso to dollar ngayon? Or dollar to peso? Nasa 56, 57. Right. 57. So yun, gusto natin dollars. By the way, 11 minutes na lang, mag-8 na. Sige lang, bilisan natin to. So now, ano pang services pwede? Meron ka ng 120K cash. Magbayad na tayo ng ating mga bills. Okay, so ano ba yung mga bills? Kanina may rent, di ba? So magbabayad na tayo ng rent. Let's say end of the month na. Let's say 129.25. Ano ba yung rent? Rent is an expense, di ba? So malamang debit yung rent, di ba? So magkano kaya ang rent na office ni JR? Lagyan natin 5,000. Ano pa yung possible na mga expenses ni JR na binayaran ng 129? Salary siguro, no? Or utilities.
PLDT.
Okay, so PLDT. Wow, receive siya ng PLDT. Pero pwede ba natin ilagay dito PLDT?
Utilities.
Pwede po business registration.
Dapat nung una pala nag-business registration. Pasaway si JR, hindi mo muna sa pag February na siya nag-business registration. Sige. So next month na natin ilagay yung business rate. Sige, pasaway itong ano natin, bookkeeper.
Subscription for PLDT.
Ko nga, sige, PLDT. Pwede ko bang ilagay dito bilang bookkeeper, PLDT?
Hindi po.
Communication.
Subscription.
Or transcription? Pwedeng transcription
Subscription.
or subscription? Pwede kaya?
Nasa sa chart of accounts.
Oo, 'di ba? Tingnan natin chart of accounts. Mayroong mga subscription dito?
Wala.
No. So pwede kaya siyang utilities?
Pwede po.
Pwede. So instead of PLDT or subscription, gamitin natin yung chart of accounts. Utilities. Magkano kayo yung internet ngayon? Nasa 1,800 siguro, no? Ano pa kaya? O mahal yung subscription ni Alma, 2,500.
Electric.
Electricity. Okay, electricity.
Electricity.
Sir.
Pwede ko bang ilagay dito electricity? Pwede ba yan?
Part
No,
of
bakit,
utilities na
Carson?
siya.
Utilities din po.
Utilities din kasi pag tingnan mo chart of accounts, wala ding electricity, di ba? So dapat follow tayo sa chart of accounts, wala tayong pasaway, di ba? Utilities ulit, magkano kayong kuryente niya ngayon? Pag maliit lang na bookkeeping business, magkano utilities? 300? Grabe naman si Kelly.
Mura.
Siguro 5,000
3K.
nag-aircon si JR, ganon. So, pwede kayong may staff siya or sarili niya lang yung binabayaran niya.
Software subscription.
Pwede din subscription ng kanyang QBO. So, subscription. Pwede ko bang ilagay yan ganyan?
Software.
Software. Meron bang
Yes.
software sa chart of accounts? Oh, meron. Very good. So, instead of subscription, again, we follow the chart of accounts. Software, magkano? How much is a QuickBooks subscription? 1,500? Let's do 1,500 in the interest of time kasi 7 minutes na. Right. So, lahat ng to, all these, JR paid in cash. Right? Pwede niya bang utangin yung PLDT? Pwede bang utangin niya yung rent niya? Baka paalayasan siya nung kanyang landlord agad, ano? So, dapat cash yung binayaran niya. So, lagay natin ng mga date dito. Kasi sabay-sabay niyang binayaran to. So, binayaran niya cash on hand, no? So, ano nga uli yung binayaran niya yung cash? Binayaran niya ng cash, so gamitin natin cash on hand. Now, dito na. Kung binayaran mo yung mga expenses, you are gonna be letting go of your cash. Right? So, ano nga uli yung cash? It's an asset, right? Ano yung normal balance ang asset? Is it debit or credit?
Debit.
Debit. So, every time you debit a cash account, you're increasing your cash. But in this case, nagbayad ka ng mga expenses, do you think you're gonna be debiting your cash?
No.
Not anymore. So this is the time you will be crediting your cash, correct? Because babawasan mo ngayon yung cash mo. Right?
Yes.
All right. So magkano? Total natin yung 5, 185 at saka 15. Total of 13,300. Wait lang. Wala. 13,300. So lagay lang tayo ng remarks. To record payment of rent. Ito naman, to record payment of PLDT, for example. Payment to PLDT. Ayan. Para lang alam nung magkakalkal nung transaction na ano ba itong mga pinagbabayan niya yung utilities. Ito naman to record payment of electricity. Sabi ni Bien, bakit daw naging credit? Sige. Sinong gusto mag-explain kay Bien? Bakit daw credit yung 13,300 na cash on hand?
Kasi naglabas po ng pera.
Because nagbayad siya ng cash, decrease.
Nabawasan yung cash mo.
Naglabas ka ng pera, kaya nabawasan i-credit mo.
Alright. Sabi ni Bien, okay daw. So, meaning he get it. Or he got it. Record payment of Ang explanation natin dito, various expenses. So, bien, question. Anong mangyayari sa cash mo? Kanina, di ba yung cash mo was 50 at saka 70, so 120. Now that you credit cash of 13,300, what do you think will happen with your cash? Is it gonna be increasing or decreasing? All right, decreasing siya, right? Let's prove that. Now, let's prove that. Kanina, di ba, 120. Let's go to our unadjusted trial balance kung nag-decrease pa siya. Or di siya nag-decrease. Tapos yung ating validation ay, please check. May mali tayo. So, saan tayo nagkamali? Right? Saan tayo nagkamali? 5 plus 1,8 plus 5 plus 1,5, 13,300. Tama naman. Sige nga, tulungan niyo ako maghanap ng mali.
Sa accounts payable ata ito.
So, bakit may 8,000? Ano ba yung 8,000? Saan dito yung 8,000? Ito, accounts payable. Bakit? Yung accounts payable, meron naman, accounts payable, 8,000. Ano pa kayong possible? Tapos yung cash natin, tingnan nyo, 120 pa din siya.
Officer. Office equipment.
Copying natin yun. Cash on hand. So, ilan ba yung cash on hand? Meron pala. Office supplies, nagbayad tayo ng cash on hand kanina na 10.
Sa office equipment.
Sa office equipment, asan dito ang office equipment? Mali yung ating office equipment. Meron bang office equipment?
Wala tayong nilagay.
Wala tayong nilagay. Kasi dito tayo naglagay sa COA pero wala tayong nilagay sa unadjusted trial balance natin. Very good. So, insert tayo dito. Insert tayo dito. Copy lang natin tong code at saka yung description. Tapos, i-drag natin yung formula. Let's see. Tada! Okay na siya. So, doon tayo nagkamali sa office equipment kasi hindi natin siya inad sa ating trial balance. Alright. Yung cash on hand, tingnan nyo, may debit na 120 tapos may credit na 23,300. Right? So, balance na siya. Pero kung titingnan nyo yung total nito, so maglagay tayo dito ng total. Right? So, lagyan nating formula. Pagka-asset, ano ba yung office equipment asset din siya? So kapag ka-asset, debit minus credit, no? So yung running balance mo ng cash nasa 96,700 na lang, no? Kasi nabawasan siya ng 23,300. Tapos yung liability, 1,800, liability iba naman. Liability is credit minus the debit. Right? So, drag natin yan until expense. Tapos ganyahin natin yung formula nung rent kasi expense siya, debit una before credit. Right? Let's drag that down. So, tingnan natin, no? Now that we have this, let's prove this. Let's prove our, wait lang. Nasendan ko ba si Nemo ng Zoom link? Parang hindi. Pasaway ako. Sorry. Give me 1 second, guys. Kasi 8 na pala. Give me a moment. Ayun, nag-message na nga siya. See you shortly. Saan yung Zoom link? Copy my link. Right, 1 second. Ano ba yan? Here's the Zoom. Right, how many tayo? 125. Okay, hindi na nakahiya. Marami na yung 125. Meron din naman tayong watcher sa ano, no? Andre, ilan tayo sa ano, Zoom o sa YouTube? Right, so i-check natin yung ating accounting equation, okay? So asset, liabilities, di ba sabi natin asset is equal to liabilities plus equity. Tapos yung equity mo is let's break that down into income and expense. So plus income minus expenses. Okay? So total mong assets, lagyan na natin yun. Lagyan na natin assets. Or ito yung asset, lagyan natin to para gamitan natin ng formula. Asset, sorry.
Good morning, Chris.
Good morning, Nima. How are you doing?
Amazing. A little bit early, but
No.
I'm doing great.
We're actually, you're not late at all, or not early too. You're just right on time.
Early for California. It's 5 a.m. on a Saturday.
Oh yeah, it is what, 5 in the morning your time right now?
Yeah.
All right. But I'm glad you could make it and meet
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
100 plus people in the room right now.
Amazing. Nice to meet you all.
Right.
Good morning, everyone. Nice to meet you all.
Say good morning, everyone. They're actually on mute because
Good morning.
Oh yeah.
Morning.
Good morning.
Wow. This is such a big
Morning.
class.
Good
Good
I'm very
morning.
impressed. Hey, everyone.
It is.
Good
Before we
morning.
start, everybody,
Good
Anima,
morning.
let me just unshare. We will continue tomorrow, okay? The exercises that we were doing kasi inabot na tayo ng 8, right? So we'll continue tomorrow. I'll share with you the link to the file that we were working on earlier. And so you can also look into the Excel formulas, okay? But for now, let's transition to the next part of our session today. As previously mentioned, we will be joined today by Nima. I found Nima, or we met through LinkedIn, and I shared with you a few information about that, but he will tell you more about what he does and what Revaya, what his company does, and what it could mean for you guys. What opportunities could he possibly present to you now and in the future? Okay, so without further ado, let us welcome Nima all the way from San Diego in California. Let's give him a virtual applause.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much for having me. Thanks, Chris, for doing a kind introduction. And thanks for everyone for having me in this room. It's such a pleasure and honor to be a part of a group of people who one step further in their course, considered a tight family, not small, but tight family in Cebu. I've been having a pleasure working with the Filipinos for the last 17 years, and I do have people still with us for the last 17 years. So this is not new to me. Having said that, Revaya was established because we do have different aspects of organizations, from medical to apparel and finance. So what we decided to do, we had amazing in-house Filipinos located in Los Angeles working for us, and then we got exposed through their family members. And back in days, it was a little bit different to communicate through email, but we made it happen, and Zoom came in, and it just became more diverse. After COVID, we decided to say, all right, why don't we go ahead and build a company that we're very familiar with servicing US clients with amazing talents in the Philippines. Currently, the reasons that I'm in the Philippines is because of the culture of the Filipinos. I'm Persian American myself, and it's very similar to us. The manners, the respect, the level of culture is to a point where I don't need to be in elsewhere. However, I'm getting some attractions in Latin America, but I think Philippines beats everyone else in terms of historically speaking about culture and dedications and integrity. We're very well connected with a lot of different firms. We started out in different aspects, e-commerce. We started out in different zones of um, industries where there was a need at some point. We're heavily focused in accounting aspects, especially with property management companies, because there's absolutely a need. And a lot of CPAs are asking us for good talents that are more familiar with US laws. And that this is how I got to know Chris. And as a US tax manager, and I'll tell you guys what, once you get to Chris's level, it's very difficult to find great talents. Doesn't matter. I mean, you name it. There's really none anywhere else. Even in the US, there's a big shortage as of today, as we're speaking. It's because, you know, everyone has expanded. There's not really big companies anymore. There's really no Walmart of CPA world in the US. If you drive around, you're gonna see a lot of small shops of CPAs all around. And what they're lacking is there's zillions of people, but there's not enough people to feed them. So what they do, they go to outsources. There's an HRM block. They get people temporarily, and it's always a failure. Or even like different parts of people who've done it, and it's always a failure. So when I met Chris, we didn't talk about anything. I was very impressed with who he is. I introduced him to one of our clients in the US, and Chris decided to take up on a much larger avenue in his career, which I'm so happy with. But it's good synergy between him and I, even though he decided to pursue with a bigger position in his life, which I'm so happy for him, and I'm so proud of who he is. We talked about it. I said, Chris, it would be a good partnerships for you and I. I've got US clients who are looking for it, and I do have the finances behind it to start advertising and being able to promote your services in terms of, having you to put in your heart out there and doing this for your fellow Filipinos, and then I'll support you however I could, being able to. And I'll tell you what, I'll tell you guys what. Honestly, there is a need, and I would love to have good talents in my company. I really do, because our culture of the company is very different. It's very tight. Absolutely tight. I check up on my people, and I know exactly who they are, how many kids they have, who's their husbands. I bring him on the camera, we speak, and that type of a thing. So we make it very personalized. And I told Chris, I said, Chris, it really aligns with our culture, because if you get to know these people, if they're doing the attendance, if they're doing your classes, if they're getting certified, if they're doing all that, they're the people who are going to be doing the same exact thing with US clients. And those are the people that we'd like to have. And that this is called betting. It doesn't matter for me. Anyone can go get onto different websites, you name it. I know it. I know the names of those websites. So you do, including other websites that we Chris and I got connected through LinkedIn. But there are other avenues that you can get. But you don't know these people. You really truly don't know. So one of the advantages of the classes, beside all the knowledge and great avenues of learning that you're basically earning today, not only is the education, is being able to get yourself out there and then saying, this is who I am, this is how I'm participating, and this is how it would be in real life. And that speaks very highly of yourself. So I'm in this call because I do see the value. I'm here with Chris. I'm here to support Chris because I do see the value. And I do want you guys to know that if you're taking up this path, there is a demand, and there is a large demand. Accountants, we get a lot of accountants who are experienced in QuickBooks, Zero, and they've got 5 to 6 years under their belt. But a niche is always a great place to be. You can be master of all, jack of all trades, and not being one thing. And at the end of the day, you'll be replaced easily tomorrow. I don't think Chris will. I really don't. I'm not saying, I'm not trying to pamper the guy, but I don't think. But once you get to a senior US tax accountant in the US, and we've had many positions and talked to many CPAs, they don't want to let go. You become their right hand. You become their trustworthy, their eyes and ears of the company. So starting from the junior at getting to a senior, getting to a position that Chris is today with his knowledge is absolutely valuable in the US. And there's an absolute demand for people who are dedicated, trustworthy, they're 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 working hard and they're giving their time into the work solely for that company is humongous. One of the issues that a lot of US clients are dealing with, and I want you guys to know, and we'll be bringing different types of, if you want us to, I can bring a lot of different with partnerships. We spoke to Chris about, like historically speaking about educational, we bring professor, like people that you would need. We would like to know who is it that you need for us to bring in, and I'll bring guest speakers for us with the help of Chris, for you guys to be able to support it and everything. Just the fact that a lot of these clients that I have, one of the things that they're going to ask is that, how's the working hours? Something to think about, right? But the beauty of your role is you can have basically a little bit of overlap, because then you take things over and then you go on the back end and you do it. But I'd say, like, in the very beginning, you got to be a little bit more on the diverse side to say, okay, like, let me work those hours. And then once you gain the trust, you go from there. And then they want to say, how does the remote work? It's all about communications. It's all about partnerships. It's all about dedications. And that comes along with basically gaining the trust. Once the trust is built, you're gonna be a part of. I do have a client. His name is Chris. Also, I hired a very amazing girl from Davao City for him, and he's in love with her. He started out with 20 hours. I can have her to get on calls, Chris, if you want, if you like me to.
Oh,
I
we
would
would love
love her
that.
to. Yeah, she's amazing. And then she started as a junior tax accountant, and then I'm not gonna say this, guys. I swear to God, talk to her. Chris calls me up, he's like, I want to have her to own my company. I'm like, okay, Chris, calm down. Like she's a doll. She's amazing. She's been nothing but a jewel to one of my good clients, Chris. I would love to have her to be our guest speaker
Yes, we will
one of
schedule.
the days.
Let us schedule that.
Absolutely.
I'll
So
talk to
she
you.
can tell you about experiences. I think, if I'm not mistaken, she either for a cloud staff or Tau Global, or if I'm not mistaken. I'm gonna go. I do have her resume, but she can tell you all about herself. I'll ask her to do this. If I'm sure she'll do it, because she's just fabulous, and you can get some insight. How is it? You can ask some QA questions from this point. I know you got Chris. You got the jewel of the jewel. He's probably one of the, I'm not gonna say top three. I don't know what, but at least he's on the tops. I don't know how many Chris's are out there, but not many. I haven't come across with anything, and I know a lot of people. But it would be good for you guys to ask some questions from someone who is actually working for a smaller firms, to see, what does she feel about it? Working hands to hands in a day, like a daily life. So yeah.
Sorry, go ahead, Nima.
Fantastic. So I just wanted you guys to say the hard work pays off. You being in this class adds value. You're getting yourself, like taking one thing that others are not doing, or doing something else. They're on their phone scrolling. You're here to earn educations. It's already valuable. I would love Chris to create names of you guys. I would love to be able to get to know you guys personally. Once Chris says, Nima, these are the people that I do think they're participating, they're finished up the classes, they're always showed up, their attendances are good. I would love to be able to knock on doors and then get introductions for you guys. I'll tell you guys one thing. From your end, you may think getting a US client is difficult. From my end, I'm thinking getting the right candidate is difficult.
Yeah.
So it really goes hand to hand between us. So I'm very blessed, pleased to got to know Chris and have you guys in this room. And if I don't know if you're hundreds in this room, there are probably 600 CPAs around where I just corner of where I live. So there's always an opportunity. I can knock on doors for you guys, do email marketing, do campaigns, do video introductions with you guys and everything that there is to be able to promote you within the US clients, and hopefully they'll do the matching. This is what I can promise from my end, that we'll be able to do it for you guys, and then it just goes along between the, it goes in many different avenues. What is it that you need from your life? What is it where you need to be in your life? And from there, if you guys have any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer.
All right. Thank you, Nima.
My
We
pleasure,
love
absolutely.
everything. We love everything you said, and also thank you for, you know, um, er, getting up from bed this early. I know it's
I was
5
excited. I've been up since 4. I swear to God, I'm like, I woke up 4:50. It's my pleasure to be here. Absolutely.
Yeah, we appreciate you. And again,
Thank
we
you.
love everything you said, and I guess that, you know, we believe nothing happens by coincidence. So we met because there is a reason for it. There was a good purpose, why we got connected, and
Absolutely.
yeah. So you guys heard Nima. He's gonna knock on doors for you. Um, and there's a lot of us, right? There's a lot of us. So I guess let's just be realistic about it, that we Nima can knock on doors for all of us, right? So there will be priorities, right? There will be those who, will get prioritized because of probably the performance that you have, or your readiness, or your existing qualification, or you match a current need of a client, right? But this is not something that we're gonna do for few weeks, few months. It's gonna be an endeavor that we're gonna be doing for a very, very long time, right? Anima and I will be partner for a very, very long time, because this industry, I mean, Nima serves, various industries, and accounting, tax, maybe virtual assisting is just one of those, right? And if his problem, as he said earlier, is on he's looking for talents, right? And we are looking for employment, right? So I guess we just found the right match, right? But match, I mean, we would only be a right ready. We have the competence, and we have developed that character, so that Nima can have the confidence to go out there and find you the right match. You know what I'm saying? So I guess the reason why you're here is because you also want to learn, and at the same time has embraced the culture of borderless accountant, where we do not just develop competence but also character, right? Everybody in agreement to that? So enough said from my side. Any questions? So now is the right time for you to ask Nima questions. Hopefully, questions that relate to what we do and what he does. I'm not sure if Nima is welcome to answer any question from any from.
Anything, anyone, I'll be here as long as it takes to answer questions.
All
Honestly, this
right,
is the time
great.
that I'm sure people have showed up to the respect. I'll be here for another 5 hours if needed to be.
All
Um,
right.
so
Perfect.
so let me start off from number one. Question is, okay. So let me go ahead and allow me a second. All right. So, and I apologize if I pronounce some names wrong. I'm terrible with names. I have to admit it. So Mills says, what can you advise for those who are interested in bookkeeping? What skills do we need to have? So bookkeeping, the number one thing that I have to tell you is paying attention to details. And I do have a finance background myself too. I do see a lot of, with companies, with companies that are, so let me tell you a little bit about other companies, what they're looking for and what the client's looking for. And there are two different avenues. There are two different approaches that you're looking for. So one of the approaches that there's a company called Oju Bookkeeping. They're mainly focusing on property management, bookkeeping, and those called OJO. If you guys want to know, it's our competition, right? So what they do, they're very similar to Tor Global or Cloud Staffing. They're bringing accountants And what they do is that they put a manager on top, and then they run it, and then they come up with KPIs. One of the most KPIs that they do have is errors. Right now, Ojo Bookkeeping has changed their things to, if you make 5 minor mistakes, you're fired. Period. So, and you'll face that with American companies. And then Chris can speak highly of that. Like you see a little bit, you're out. Make sure, you guys, that if you're in someone's books, you are fully designated. You park everything outside. There's no issue with kids. There's no issue with that. You are fully focused. Accountants are like doctors. You cannot be thinking about something while you're examining someone. It's that time that you do with the client, with the patient, and same thing, it goes along. Paying attention to details, showing your basically dedication speaks, because what happens is your numbers speak highly of you. When you pull up that balance sheets or P&L, or make closing the books and in general ledgers, and it doesn't match up, if they don't match up, it speaks highly of that, your data entry. So those comes along. And I would say one of the other things that it comes with accounting is not, and I'm gonna be generally speaking, and one of the reasons that I really enjoyed working with Chris, because even though a lot of accountants are introverts, generally speaking, I've hired hundreds, Chris is very pleasant to talk to, very pleasant to talk to. And I think for accounting, it goes both lines. Like, you want to get in, when you get on a call with a US client, you got to have a little bit of that communication skills, along paying attention to details, making sure that you fully understand everything that they're telling you and you've been assigned to. And then if you don't understand it, culturally speaking, from Persian culture and Filipino culture, both cultures that I do fully understand, is for you to ask them, I'm so sorry, I didn't understand it. Can you explain to me more? And you don't want to go back and recreate yourself and not asking questions, because that's when it's going to happen, and that's what the errors come. Because you have not asked, and then you thought, and thoughts are lies. So you got to make sure that you always communicate properly and you pay attention to details. So the second question is, what if a non-CPA here in the Philippines? That's totally fine. So you're considered, it doesn't matter as who you are, right? Whether you're CPA or non-CPA. Accounting is all about someone who understands and is smart enough to do the tasks. You are hired, no matter in the under classifications in the US, as a virtual assistant. It doesn't matter if you're a CPA, it doesn't matter who you are. You are hired at the end of their under classifications as a VA. It comes down to our job as a company, US company, to go back to a client, because they come back to us and they're looking for a candidate. They tell us this is who we're looking for. And then we go back, we always endorse 3 people based upon the strength that they have, based on that job description and the culture of the company and things that's been said to us, and we endorse them. So it comes down to our company determining who is going to be the endorsed, who's not going to be endorsed. Doesn't matter if you're a CPA or not CPA. As of today, I'm hiring JDs, lawyers in the Philippines. They work at paralegal. They don't have the degree. They do the same thing as a lawyer does in the US. The only thing is that the lawyer signs it off. You're going to be doing the same thing. Once the trust has been built, you're going to do the accounting. The CPA in the US signs it off. So you don't need to be a CPA. So, is it good for you that you're going to be a CPA? Is it a plus? Honestly, I don't think it is. If you're dedicated, if you're smart, if you're paying attention to details, you're good in communications, and they see your hard work, Andrea will be here and talking to you guys. She's not a CPA. So, all right. So Moss says, I'm 58, will employer hire me because of my age? All right. So I have a rock star. She's got few years more under her belt than you do. 58 is absolutely young. Is 50 year young to me. 58 is where you'd probably have 20 to 30 years plus under your belt in accounting. So I would say if you were to be in social media field, I would say I don't know what to tell you because of TikTok trends and that, and then all that whole things that's going on in today's world. If I do see a good, if I see someone who's got 20 to 30 years under her belt, or someone who has 2, 3 years, I would definitely consider the experience as a good thing. Not that 2, 3 years old is not that experience is not that smart, but everyday challenges in bookkeeping will teach you something as you're aware. And and not only that, I do have Meritima in our company. I can if any aspects that you want us to, I can bring in the top of the top. Meritima is our account receivable and in our apparel industry. And I think she's there, and we call her, she's our top dog. She knows it. So she runs the show for us. So no, not really. It's if I were to be talking to accounting, is it's all about how much do you know. It's not about the age that you have. And I think generally speaking, if you go and see a doctor, if the doctor has white hair, come into your room, you'll feel much more comfortable than someone who's got a little bit. It's the psychology behind it. And correct me if I'm wrong. So, all right. So what niche is highly popular and most of clients? So really depends. There are different aspects of accounting, right? So you could be in on the kind of more on the commercial side. You can be more, in the B2B, you could be the B2C, you can be e-commerce. It depends on what niche do you want to be focusing on. What you need to be careful in terms of niches are the types of different clients that you're dealing with. The gentleman who is in on e-commerce Amazon is probably on a very solo person, running one type of operator type of a person, running the entire show, and maybe doesn't have much time to dedicate to you, or rather than someone else who's working for a big company, and you're working under CFO in a, I'm gonna say, small, more on the mid-sized level, like in a construction business, right? They're more structured, they are, but again, they're very cutthroat. So you're not going to have that interpersonal skills with that individual. So with this, the niches that I'm getting right now, getting a lot of people, are property management. That's Appfolio, Yardi, Buildium. Those are the three top softwares that they're looking for people to hire. You start out probably from somewhere around, I want to say $5. And then if you become a good Appfolio bookkeeper, within probably 3 to 4 years, you can get yourself housed in a good company for roughly about $8 to $9. So in terms of pay, that's a good niche to be in, if you're asking me. Because that's what we kind of gravitated towards. Like I don't know, I may have 40 employees myself that are Appfolio bookkeepers, and it's a good niche. It's a very tight, it's very tight, but they normally work for companies. They start out with companies like Ojo Bookkeeping. I'm not promoting Ojo, but I do like Ojo. But now they changed, and people, I'm talking about competitions, but honestly, they changed their laws. I want you to house, if you want me to tell you or give you any reference to any other companies, I would. It's not just, I want you to come to Revi. Revi does this. I'll give you any insights about other companies that I do not. I know a lot of companies and competitions, and even the owners I know. So Ojo came out with a new rule that it says if you make 5 errors, you're out, right? But that's a bookkeeping. So you learn a lot. You work from them slowly but surely. You build yourself, then you value yourself, and then you just find yourself something better. And that's the truth. So are you open with entry level, with little experience in bookkeeping? Generally speaking, I am open, right? I'm open to take anyone. Is the client open? Depending on the client that you do get. If the client is getting, first, no client is gonna, first but most, let me tell you how the dynamic works, and this is exactly how the system is. No one in the world who has not hired a virtual assistant accountants is gonna come to Nima, or Nima can go to and says, I'm gonna get you someone as junior bookkeeper. No, there are companies who have already hired people from us, like Maritima of the World, that are senior accountants. Then they will need, as they're expanding their teams, they're going to be hiring juniors under their belts, and we built the hierarchy, and that's how we've done it. One of my clients has 10 people, and this is how we got started with them. We hired 2 seniors, and then 2 seniors, because I wasn't sure if one senior is going to last or not. Then I always hired 2 as backup. So I hired 2, and they both turned out to be fantastic. And then the 2 started having 1 and 2 and 2 and 1. So then it grew. So, and that's how junior accountants get the opportunity to be able to work for US clients, when we actually put them under the belt of someone that we already trust, and this person can vouch for you, and saying, you know what, I'll get them under my belt, and then we'll build a team. That's how we do. So, and then your hiring manager would be a Filipino fellow who would take the initiative and the time to be able to, that would be your hiring manager, like Chris today. So Chris, exactly, like he would take a junior under him, because he knows that he would be able to train, he would be able, once he finds a good person, he'd be able to do a lot. It's about who you know, it's, and beside the what you know in accounting, and depends on how good you are and show value. Everyone can learn. Any junior can be senior today, but the characteristics, the person that I'm gonna be getting on calls with every day, the person that I can trust in, it really talks a lot where it comes down to the VA world. So yeah, juniors do have opportunities. It's gonna be a little bit much harder. But it always has to go under a senior in the Philippines. A lot of seniors in the US, they're not gonna take a junior Philippines. But there are a lot of companies that they have virtual assistants already. So they're asking for junior, because the senior is bombarded with tasks, and then that, and that's what normally happens. They're overworked, and they understand it. So they're trying to take up on, and then the senior says, okay, you do this, then you do this, you go there, you do account payable. You normally is junior. Actually, I do for tax, I don't know much, to be honest with you. I've never had anyone ask me for a junior so far. They ask for at least a little bit, but generally speaking, for account payable and receivable, you don't need to be that senior at all. You understand it. Sometimes I highly recommend you at least getting yourself certified also along with QuickBooks and Xero, right? Just in case, and Chris knows. Those are the 2 softwares that they do ask. At least if you don't have much experience working with QB Online, QBO, or Xero, then at least you'd be able to say I'm at least certified. It's like a building your portfolio, kind of, if you don't have this, but there's curriculums I have. So currently, are you open to, okay. Currently, a GVA for property management and maintenance company, wanted to upskill and gain experience in bookkeeping. Currently working as a property manager and maintenance company. Well, what Shahira, what you can just unmute yourself. What software do you use at this company? Is it an American company?
It's a UK company, and I use Zero at the moment.
Oh, so you are in the accounting world, right?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. Yeah, I would love to speak with you. Yeah, my email is nima@revaya.com. Nima, like my first name that is there, and then Revaya, REVAYA@.com. Nima@revaya.com. Yeah, send me an email, please. I'll get you connected with my recruiters. We always need good people. And how many years of experience you have in the property management?
Almost 2 years.
Beautiful. Fantastic. Yeah, I'd be more than happy to talk to you individually and then speak about maybe I'm not going to be taking too much of time. This is more on the personal level. I need to learn you and then guide you towards what would be a good path for you to get into. And like we might have to get you trained with Rent Manager or Apple or ERD. Those are the and Buildium. Those are the softwares that they use in the US. All right. So
Okay.
what advice would you give to someone new to the US accounting or bookkeeping, especially those without prior experience in the US? How can you get started finding clients? Well, there are two ways going around it. So you can go direct. You can go to platforms like onlinejobs.com, onlinejobs.ph, or you can go through companies like us. So us, there are two different ways of doing it. You can actually become a under, you can go for companies that are US, that they're catering to US companies in the Philippines. They're around more on the BPO side, but and then there are companies that are in the US that more on the BPO side. I wouldn't recommend the BPO. Sorry guys, this is my, there we go. So I wouldn't recommend BPO honestly, you guys, because the way they do is the way that Chris has decided to build these classes. It just to a point where I would say go with companies like us. And I'm being totally biased. The reason is that because we get you in touch directly with the US clients and you learn from them directly the whole avenue of the bookkeeping. Versus when you work for some BPO companies, depending on how they put you with one US client and then they have you, or no, they put you with 5 US clients and they do this, do. You gotta be doing so much for them that it's gonna be a nightmare. And we have a lot of people from BPO companies for those big names that I'm giving out. They're coming to us and they've already unlocked it and they said, I can't do it anymore. It's insane. I don't know the clients. I don't know what's going on. I've got 5 clients. It's pressure on me. I'm handling 5 books at the same time. It would be always good for you to go direct with the clients and or through a company that connects you directly to the clients rather than you working for those companies that have you to sit down and put your phone out and kind of like overwatch your shoulders every 2 seconds. It's not pleasant to do that. So I would stay away from those companies that are treating people not fair. And there are many of them out there. So but experiencing, I'll tell you one thing. It doesn't matter the beauty of the accounting, it doesn't matter you already have a US experience or non-US experience. They're looking for people who knows accounting. Accounting is it's 2 + 2 = 4. Is asset equals to liability plus owner's equity. That's the formula across the country, across the world, globe. So it really doesn't matter. It's just a matter of little bit of understanding it. But I mean, you guys are way advanced with this class that you're going to. Most people that I don't even know, they're not even understand what you're understanding about. These classes are fantastic. If you tell them that US, you're this certification, and then we endorse when we endorse, we say you've been US certified. I've never endorsed anyone. I promise you, I've never endorsed anyone that I said that they're US certified. Never. Yeah, we have endorsed people that they're QuickBooks certified. They're zeros, but this is a big. I think this add value that you've worked. That's how I would endorse it. I don't know about any company because I know the value of Chris. I know how knowledgeable he is in his field. So for me to the way I would present it, Nima as Rebaya, I would go to my clients and I'd say, you know what? They've gone through classes, our classes. They have passed, certified, and these are the people that I recommend. They want my recommendation. They really do want my recommendation. That's why they come to us. We know it better than them. They just need a good talents, right? Accounting, accounting. If you go from a company A to company B in the US, it's a day and a night. They run differently. They run their books differently. It just get that fear out. Oh my goodness, I've never done US. If you change companies, it's going to be the same fear over and over. Just get the fear out of yourself. So it's going to help you in the long term. If you have I have non-US accounting experience. That doesn't matter. It is you understand accounting. That's all it matters. If you understand accounting, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Okay, so I'm hiring for a role, and I interviewed 3 people on yesterday. There are different programs in the Philippines, right? So there's a bachelor in accountancy, there's a bachelor's in accounting technology, and and then there are people they're getting their bachelor's in business with finance focus, right? And that, right? So there are different degrees that they come in at. I have I've hired people for higher positions with a bachelor's in business, major in finance, and I've in the same positions we put in people, they have bachelor's in accountancy. Why do we do that? It goes along with their characteristics. It goes along with their dedications. It goes along with their understandings. It goes along with experiences. There are many different components. So it's a whole package, right? So I wanted to get it out there. And then I don't know, there's one degree, I think it's a bachelor's in accounting technology that you have to take additional 1 year and become accounting. And then people are asking me, Nima, am I qualified? I'm like, absolutely. It doesn't matter. US clients don't care. As long as once they interview and then you do a good job, it's the work, the work. Because your degree, it would be good to see accountancy for us, but does it make us to make that much of a differentiation in terms of hiring someone who doesn't have that degree? No. If especially with your program, it's a whole different game, because now you completed this and now you've gone to something, you have kind of like a certification. That's a cherry on top. Are these an opportunity for newbie to join your team? So Maria, it's almost the same answer that I said about the junior part. In the opportunities are all out there. It's just a matter of we gotta find someone who is gonna be hiring you as a newbie under their belt. No one has the time. The reasons okay. There are 2 main reasons that the US clients want to outsource. One is the price. 2 is their overload, load of work. So the price, if I were to be hiring someone right now and then wanting to dedicate and educate and then doing this what Chris is doing right now and doing everything or different aspects of account. I don't know what like Chris, are you doing any accounting classes beside tax?
Yeah, this one. We're just actually we're doing the US bookkeeping using QuickBooks
Beautiful.
Online as a
Beautiful. I would endorse you guys myself, right? If you're a junior and you've gone through this, I would put you under one of our seniors. But the person, I was back to what I said, the person is going to hire you is because of the price or overload. They don't have the time to go and teach you what they need to be taught, right? They really don't. That's a reality. That's what they're expanding their team, and they go, oh my God, I cannot get to my invoices every day, and I need this, and I need someone who understands it. Okay, here you go. And like advanced framing, one of our big clients, I hired 2 very top like accountants for AR role. Let me explain to you guys one good scenario, and that goes along with this. I'm gonna give you life examples, okay? My one of my good clients, John Ambrose, advanced framing, came up to me and said, Nima, I do want to get an accountant, right? So I hired a good accountant, and then they had her to sit down and then putting invoices all day long, account receivable on the side. She hated it. She felt downgraded. She came up on a call tearing. She goes like, Nima, I feel like I'm being punished for this, and this is not what I signed up for. And I went back to my client. I said, what are you doing? Like you told me you need an accountant. You just needed AR, like a junior data entry to do the invoices. And he goes like, okay, all right. So let us think about it. So they came back and they did this little bit, right? And then they said, we're looking for account receivable. Okay. And then I downgraded, and then I went to account receivable. So I hired someone, and then we got on calls. His name was Daniel, sweet kid. He gets like, because like, Nemo, you know what they're having me to do? They're having me to call people 70% of my time. And I hate calling people, account receivable. And I'm like, okay. So I got on a call with John, and I said, John, what the heck are you looking for? You can't do this, man. He goes like, okay, let me reframe myself. So a lot of clients, there's so many different avenues that they don't know what they're looking for, right?
Yeah.
So we hired someone absolutely junior, is willing to do the invoices. She's willing to do the calls. And this is how she's building it. And then soon enough, John is going to give her more tasks. I think we're probably 4 months into it. Now she's going to get more tasks in AP. Then she's gonna be growing with the company because she's shown dedications and things. There are roles, there are needs in some companies doing manual data entry in the bookkeeping, and then you taking up these classes, you understanding the books, then you'd be able to take up on more responsibility, and you'd be able to shine yourself more, because now you say, I can do this. I cannot hire a doctor to act as a nurse and in certain roles, but I can put a nurse into a nursing, and then she'll do great, and she can become a nurse practitioner. So yeah, it depends on the company and what exactly in their books they're looking for. And then that was a good junior example I could give you. If you wanted to like get to that thing, you got to start with account payable, account receivable as a title, like just basically like data entry, get into a data entry, expand your knowledge with Chris, get yourself certified, learn their softwares which you build. Most likely they, with a lot of commercial companies, they use Sage 100, Sage 200, Sage 300. Those are softwares that you can use for industrial types. Those are the things that I think industrials would need. Sages would be good because no one really knows Sage. There's a shortage in Sage. It's not as popular as QuickBooks, but someone understanding Sage, we've had a lot of successes hiring people as a junior with Sage for industrial companies. But it's there's not many companies are using it, but the ones that are using it, they're people, they want people like that. What are those? Okay. What are the most common challenges bookkeeping VA face? How can we prepare for them? The most challenges that they do is communications. So the bookkeeping, normally when a person brings you in their companies, the books are not nightmares. They don't bring you, if it's a company is organized, you know, the chances for them to hire someone is very rare because they've already figured it out. And Chris is smiling because he already knows that. You get into a company wanting to be able to help them because they needed the help. And normally when someone comes up to you, it's said help needed, it's already too late. So you're gonna be getting into someone's books that is an absolute disaster. What it requires is patience and understanding and daily communications, and then telling the clients that, hey, here's the big picture, and you diagnose it, right? Because it takes probably, okay, so when you get into a new company, it would take you roughly about, I want to say, good month to get to understanding of how the system works of the whole company. But week to week, you have to schedule yourself. What am I learning from the company? And then you giving this agenda to your client. Like, this is something that I'm learning, right? So I learn about this, I learn about that. And I said communications is really important. So I understood today about these aspects, but what I'm not clear is about that aspects. The more you communicate, the more you have a fully understanding of exactly being able to say, okay, now I got this image, I'm not clear, and asking questions, and then unlocking every single of the, from the operational things to the accounting. Because you first, I think as an accountant, you really have to understand the operations first and then accounting. And a lot of clients don't have the time to give you the operations. They just want them to get to your books. So what you would like to do is to let them know as an expert. I would greatly appreciate if you give me a whole picture of the company because of different aspects from the payable to receivable. Even though I'm taking receivable, I would like to understand how you do. And you know what's going to happen? They're going to take one step back and they're going to appreciate what you just said, because no one says that. right? Because you really have to understand it, what vendors they have, how they operate, how it goes, what are the locations they are, what type of industry they do, and all that kind of things. Once you come back, and then once you get into that disaster of the fire books, then you have to give back and then give your things. These are the errors that I do find. I based upon the knowledge or experience that I do. And I would highly recommend you ask a partner, like maybe in the beginning, if you're more not a senior level or you're struggling, bring at least ask questions from someone that you know, and then don't try to figure everything out on your own because accounting comes with an experience. You're gonna make a mistake, it's fine. But knowing the fact that you understood it, there was an error that you couldn't figure out, you reached out either in the upper management or a colleague that you do not, like Chris, like someone that like you got someone like Chris. Hey Chris, this is something I don't understand, what is this? And then go and do it, and then create a good game plan, right? Saying, okay, these are the issues, these are the things, this is what I'm working on. I do see that your account payable is absolutely a mess. It doesn't make sense with everything that is coming on. You're at negatives or anything. Or wait. If it's a retail store, if it's a wholesale store, you take a step back and you say, guys, honestly, you want me to do the cost analysis and figure out everything that there is and being able to close the books and everything, your inventory looks strong. What I require from you guys is to go work the inventory to be able to enhance your system better. So you are in the book. So you're the one who's going to be able to understand it and being able to give a positive feedback with really like understanding of there's a difference between sit down and have a seat and please sit down. It's just a matter of the communications. The way that you gotta feel the client and letting the client know this is what I think, the way that you know how the client functions. Okay, so yes, we have borderless accounting community. We are always ready to help. Amazing, fantastic news. Yeah, exactly. Be each other's back, guys. Collaborations. If you don't understand anything, don't get on YouTube. You got this gentleman here. So, do you give free training in your company for newbies? No, this is what we have, Chris. If you want, if you do want us to provide you training on to be have a good VA, that's something that I would like to say I'd be more than happy to get you in touch with my internal team and then them sharing their basically daily rock or how they manage themselves or how they do certain things or how they organize themselves with reminders because you gotta have a system. It doesn't matter. You gonna if you're gonna Chris, can I share my screen if you don't mind?
Sure, of course. Please feel free to do so.
All right.
Or let
I
me see.
appreciate it. So
Yeah.
so if you wanna be a good VA, you gotta have a game plan. You cannot just come in and just do it, right? You gotta have task management, right? This is what we do with our VAs, with our internal team, which I call family actually, but VA, I don't like the word VA. So let's say operations, right? Everything goes through client relations. We have tasks, right? If you task yourself and get yourself organized to a point that where you're standing with all the tasks that you have, like getting, like making sure that this is it, and you create it. It's a project management, it's free to you. Use that for you to once you're on calls, take up notes, put the due dates, make sure the due dates are matched, let them know, take a screenshot of your due date. These are the things that I'm working on. These are the things that there is. I would definitely think that that comes along with the training that you can do. But task management is the first thing that you got to train yourself first to be able to create project management system in your mindset, and then any other comes in with like showing up. This is already, I think, good training for you because you're already on the calls. The remaining is how can you be organized and not forget things. And that comes with a system. I would never be able to. I have my whole list of groceries in ClickUp, so that's how you make it happen. Is there an opportunity for an accountant to work on a flexible time arrangements? I ask because I suffer from high blood pressure and I'm sorry to hear that when I stay up late. There are two ways of doing it. I would say there are companies that are very flexible. I think Ria works for a company. Chris is just a Jew. He doesn't, he, as long as she gets it done. I think she built the trust first and then this happens. Like a lot of times they're not, I mean, there are two ways of there are three different clients. There's sick-minded clients that I don't deal with. Those are the micromanaging person that they're gonna put you on a camera and they're gonna be putting you on a doctor, what time doctor and all that kind of crap they do. And those are the ones that if you have any of that work, the first question you need to ask is to ask them if they have time doctor or any monitoring thing. It may come as a red flag for your case, because a lot of people don't like when someone says, but truly, if you get into a zone of someone doing this, it aggravates. It doesn't matter what working hours you're working, because there are people are doing it. There are companies that are tracking your mouse and every movement, and it's a very sick mentality. So stay away from those. Two is a client that is more on a micromanagerial level, but to not that extent. They want you to work those hours, right? With those clients, there is a chance if you show a good faith, then you'll be able to be more linear towards working your own things. But if they're very demanding in the beginning, ask them during the interview and say, hey, here's the situation. Would that be okay if I do this? If I show the faith, it doesn't matter, but this is something that I may be asking them later. Would that be okay if I do so? It never hurts to ask, right? But same upfront. I'll gain a trust once I show my faith. Would that be something you'll be considering me working part-time? You should, even with companies that you interview like us, if you're not going direct, then you have to make sure you tell this to the recruiters, because what happens is that a lot of times once you don't disclose this with companies or even the clients and you say this, it's a kiss and dead, like you're done. But the third person is, I don't care. Just get it done as long as my book's looking good. I don't have time to do this. I'm not gonna get a time. I'm not gonna get a chance to even talk to you for an hour, maybe an hour a day that you and I will have an overlap, or maybe 2 hours depending on the need. You get the books done and I do this. I think this is a good career for you overall. I think in the virtual world, because you really don't need to be present, honestly, as long as you get it done. And then a lot of clients don't have the patience to sit down every day to hear. They just want to, as long as you create a good system or reporting system to give them some sort of a visibility of what's being done, even during times that you didn't work. I would say, even with clients that you don't know, you're not sure of, always give them the daily report at the end of the day, even though they don't ask. Then build a trust and then let them know, right? So what you close, how many invoices you put in, how many they don't need to, they always wonder, but when they see a good report, let me explain. Can I share something with you guys?
Sure, go
All
ahead.
right, so this is a great example of what I'm asking for. So Jane, my rock star, I just hired her. Is what needs to be said, right? So, and Jane sent such a beautiful report without us asking it. Like we didn't ask Jane to create us this. I think my partner or like even Kim, the manager, looks great. Thank you so much, Jane. So this is something she took the initiative yesterday, and she built a nice, well done report for us that was sending with Kim, the another Kim. This is another Kim, and this is another Kim. Clark is a male, Kim is a female. But when Jane sent this beautiful report to us, like, see, Rose is doing the same thing. Jane is like, she sent this beautiful report without us asking. I mean, I was fascinated with the report. So it really it takes another thing, recruitment end of the day, urgent roles, right? So high priority roles, remote compliance specialists, like, I mean, all these, like, these are the real estate bookkeeper, right? With this, the priorities, what are the whole summary, bum bum bum, CFO, senior remote accountant, remote drafter, like, I mean, real estate bookkeeper. So these are the roles actually I'm currently doing with some of this division. So she sent such a beautiful report without us even asking. So it's such a beautiful thing to see that if you're sending me this report, I'm not worried about you. I don't care if you're gonna work my hours or not. Like, you do this and I see what you've done is a visibility that you're obviously getting it done. So keep that into considerations of how I'm thinking as an employer and like what I've heard from clients. So it's a good thing to I don't check. I would probably not check Jane at all because she sends me this. So what would I worry about her? Since US and Philippines have opposite time zone, is that okay? I work Philippine daytime hours. So I would say depending on the setup, if you're working for companies more on the BPO side and you're assigned to do like a sector of same things, like I'm not gonna repeat it, very similar. If you're working with the US daytime, like Philippines daytime, I don't think a lot of clients, if you go direct, they like that, especially in the beginning, like I mentioned. But there are a lot of BPO companies that you can get a time there, but they always pay like $3 an hour, and it's like it's slavery. I'm sorry to say that, but it's terrible. It's very unethical. So I'm just being honest. So I don't have any background both in aspects of I'm willing to learn. Is there a chance for me? Yes. Danilo, there is a chance for you, like I mentioned, like account receivable, start with data entry, journal entry, and then learn these classes that you learn, and then you'll become pretty dynamic. Because then because once you work for a client like in good avenue, and then showing your interest and telling them, recognizing them, hey, you know what, I understand accounting, would you mind if I help you with account payable? And then they start giving you a little bit more and more, and then that's how you build it with the first company. And then second company, you're gonna go back and say, I've done receivables, I've payables, and then you promote yourself. And I do actually have a girl who started as account receivable, and she's an auditor now. So, and she didn't have any knowledge. So yeah, she's an auditor in a hotel account. Yeah, start out very small, one niche, a good niche of saying account receivable, journal entry, data entry, basic things. Make sure it's accounting relevant. So you build your resume up, and then you got to understand accounting, because then you're gonna be able to have something under your belt. What do we need to learn or require knowledge or skills qualified in your company? My company is, I hire for many other companies. I hire for, you name it. I cover a lot of different industries, right? So you got to have a little bit of depending on the role. So a lot of these are repeats. I'm not going to be taking too much of your time. Ella, please refer back to what I said, but I'm going to summarize this for you just to, as the respect that I do, because you've asked this. It's all about the job role, that you meet the qualifications. And then based upon what it is, if you don't have anything under your belt, go junior, and then build it from there. And we go based upon the JD. I'm not gonna hire Nima of the role if Nima has 1 year experience under his belt, if the client has asked 2 years plus. But there are people that are asking for, we want a junior, like data entry, then you start from there. You go from there. I've experienced in bookkeeping. I have existing clients. Would you still recommend bookkeepers with existing clients? what we do need to do, okay. So yes, we do and no. Do I want to get a person who is a freelancer and says no to everything? No, not in accounting. Maybe in social media I do. Content creations I do, right? Because it becomes a bad habit, right? It really because that's a big, there's only a little bit of you during the day, right? I wish there was 5 of me during the day that I could have 6 other companies. Realistically, you have to be very careful with your mental health also. Um, there are people that are looking for bookkeeping part-time. Yes, you can. As long as you don't, I don't know what type of individual you are. As long as you know that you are this person, if you're doing it for that time that is dedicated to that client with the integrity of that there are people who are asking part-time, but if you're dedicating some time up to others, eventually sooner or later, it's going to catch up to you and you're not going to be able to perform and you're gonna lose the job. So it really depends on how you manage it. There are part-times that they're doing it. And I don't know, I'm not going to be asking in details of what other projects you're working on, but make sure that they don't overlap. And then people are looking for part-timers. Absolutely. There are a lot of people, they don't need full, not a lot actually. The people, most clients are looking for full-time. My expertise, okay, so Charlotte, hi Nima, my expertise in inventory management, fantastic. That's beautiful. In pharmaceuticals industry, are there jobs out there for my niche? Many, many. You gotta be careful with inventory management because AI is taking over that. So a lot of softwares now we do see that AI is doing the inventory management with good systems, right? So I don't know what aspects of inventory you have post or pre, but inventory management is such a there. Let me explain to you something. There's zillion companies that they're still using Excel sheets for accounting, honestly. And they're using QuickBooks and the QuickBooks are good. If you want to get into a big company like Amazon as their, let's say, inventory management, the chances for you to have a job is probably 6 months. If you want to work for a company in Los Angeles in downtown, they like a wholesale company, they don't even know how to study. You're gonna be there forever, I think. So there are many, I would say for inventory that you want to get into a niche, get into wholesale apparel. That is the company that they've got zillions of products and they don't know what to do with it, right? Inventory management is great. You gotta be able to understand it, what comes in, what goes out. You gotta be able to like receive everything and making sure everything is checked out and everything what's out is there. So get into apparel or accessories because they never have their inventory right. And then food too, but don't get into food. Food is weights. Go for quantity based. Don't go for weight based inventory. Don't get into food. Food industry is bad. Get into apparel because the items are more, it's easy to do the inventory. The counting is much easier and then apparel industries are very unorganized. So they're always short staff and they need people. E-commerce people stay away from them. Get into wholesale, I'd say. Look into wholesale, if not retail. My experience, okay. Since bookkeeping has a lot of niches and application is not experienced niche, how do you know is it a oh, there's always a chance, Nora. So she's has a lot of niches and applications don't experience. Since bookkeeping has a lot of niches and an applicant is not experienced on the client's niche. Oh, absolutely. You can always learn it, right? You can always learn it. I don't have any clients asking me, I'm looking for an accountant with an experience in apparel per se. They're all our rules are APAR. You got to learn the business. The way I run my own company, my apparel industry with the software that I use is very different with other companies. It really is, right? They're apparel magic. They're in we have few, and why am I going blank on our own self? Apparel magic is a competition. AIM 360 we use, and it's a whole different thing. If you really want to go from apparel magic to bookkeeping to this, you're gonna lose your mind, because apparel magic doesn't give you anything, but AIM 360 breaks everything down for you and it does all that. So no, don't worry about that. Be a good person, be a good accountant, be dedicated, be a good communicator. Make sure that you show the value, and everyone is going to teach you, and ask questions and you learn it. What does it take for you to learn a company? How did you learn the first company? Right? Do the same thing with the second company. As long as you have a system for you to learn, then you'll be able to manage that. Honeymo, I have a full-time job here in the Philippines. I wanted to apply for a bookkeeper in the US. Would that be okay with clients? Jen, I probably would say no. There's a little bit, if you have a full-time job. Okay, can you unmute yourself? Let me explain to you. Let me ask you something. Are you trying, and I'm not closing it, are you trying to become full-time remote employee by US hours, or you want to have two jobs? You want to work 16 hours?
Hi, Lima.
Hi, Jen.
Yes, my plan is to keep my full-time job and then apply as a bookkeeper as a part-time. So that's the
Well,
case.
sure. Okay, understandable. So, um, you could, you really could, and that goes back to the same thing that you can mute yourself, dear. There's a little bit of background noise that I don't want others to be. Um, so what I would recommend you doing it is take up on the part-time, build up the trust with the clients, go directs. Your case is you gotta go directs. You cannot work for any part-time, like any BPO company, right? Because you're just not gonna be a healthy individual. And I know the reason you're doing it is not because you want to work, probably 16 hours, and it's not a healthy thing to do. It's probably in a financial need. What I would do, I would get started with a good client as a part-time, get yourself stabilized to something, right? To a degree, and then ask them. Let me explain to you what in my company. We offer 4% increase per year per employee that works, right? Because we want to build a momentum as they stay. Like, so if you're looking for a company doesn't have to offer you something like an increase of percentage, that is not going to last you long with your mental health, because eventually you have to balance yourself out it's a teeter-totter, right? So you're doing something to get something. You're not doing this to kill yourself. So you gotta have the full time work. Start setting the plans on your part time, and then when the part time, like the salary is getting higher, slowly, surely getting that full time and transition yourself to a higher full time job. So if you're thinking it like that, then you're gonna do it. If you're just gonna work like this, it's not gonna be good overall, and you're not gonna last in that company. Yes, you can disclose that to a clients, but a lot of clients are not going to like that. You want to do a part-time job in a graveyard shifts, you can do this. Absolutely. People are looking for graveyard, but just be aware that don't shoot yourself in a dark company. When you get on an interview, make sure you ask the proper questions. Would that be a good future with me? Because I do want to grow with you guys as company. How would I, and do not be, one thing that I know about Filipino culture and my culture is we're very shy to ask certain things, especially compensation. Very. Don't be shy about that, because you are planning your future and your dedications, right? Ask them politely, what would there be an increase in salary every year? Would that be something that depending on what you're getting yourself into, it has to offer you something long term to be able to, so every year that this is adding 4%, you're getting yourself 4% off or something. Maybe you increase the hours there, maybe you work later, balance yourself out, but don't go work for any companies that is just you're gonna get in there. It's not, and you're not gonna last long. Um, how some with no experience but only training can penetrate in the market because of most job posts requires needs. It goes with companies like us. We have to endorse you and recommendations from Chris or recommendation like our company. It's all about, I mean, what you're asking is about you have no knowledge. What it takes is connection. That's all there is. That's the answer to it. You know, because we have to market you somehow is a curriculum that you have under your belt. So to answer to this is get as much as your curriculums possible, and then possibly stay in touch with Chris. And if you want any junior roles that we have to then knock on doors and saying we got some with data entry, and then like I mentioned, I'm not going to repeat myself. There are a lot of people that they have, you know, it's very repetitive something. Okay, so may we request a detailed overview of your application per? Okay, absolutely. So basically, what happens is that we do have recruiters that they're talking to other peoples in different platforms. They're in many different platforms. And in other companies like us, what we normally do, what is very pleasant to do is that we normally ask for video introduction, right? So we ask for video introduction and we ask for resume. A lot of times what I'm noticing that people are doing, that's a great question, by the way, honestly. That's very, Ronaldo, great question. So guys, you have no idea how many applicants we reject throughout the day with that video introduction based upon their background, based upon I hope there is no one under 18 here. We had a candidate who recorded a video introduction with her personal lingerie, like bra, hanging from the wall for video introduction to applying for a job. Please don't do that, right? I mean, it really speaks a lot from that individual. You're trying to get a job. You did not turn around and just look at to see what it is. We looked at it and there was a female. I got embarrassed. I mean, I'm like this. I'm like, Kim, why are you sending me this? Like, this is. I mean, that should not even be received by me, right? But they were like, I'm like, no. Anyways, long story short, we always ask for a video introduction and resume, right? Then what else am I going to ask? What's important for you to have an understanding, and what if we look at the video introduction? It's your communication skill. It doesn't matter if you got an accent. We already know you're in the Philippines. You got to have an accent. Someone like Chris has less, someone like XYZ maybe has more, right? But at the end of the day, we all have accents, right? So you got to keep that in mind. But make sure you're talking slow in that video introduction, and you do have a virtual background if you don't have a good background. Get it virtual. I'm looking at Alma right now. I'm looking at Adele right now too. Amazing, very professional, very well. Like you dressed like you're not with the tank top, right? So it really matters for us to look at the personal appearances. It doesn't matter what you look like. It matters for us to how you look like, and it matters to us what your energy is like. You don't want to, as an accountant, you don't want to look like someone that is ADD. That's the worst that you can have as an accountant, like someone to record a video. Hey, by the way, I did it. You know, like I would never. If social media, absolutely get it. If I want someone who's doing this, all in coming. But depending on your role, you have to be very careful with that video introduction and take the time. Record it 5 times. It's okay. You are getting yourself into a market. That's what it takes. That's what it takes. Give yourself a half a day to it. It goes a long way. Half a day for $4 an hour is 16. And half a day, $8 an hour is 32. So, but imagine multiplies by once you get that $8 instead of the $4 job. So think about it, please. Resume, you don't need to have your picture on it. I see a lot of resumes that we get pictures on, and that's for us, you know, it doesn't matter because we get rid. But people who do not ask for video introduction, like if they don't require it, put your picture up there if you want to. But resumes, I mean, resumes must be dated. Every resume, the name of the company. What are the things that we don't like to see on a resume? That's it. Orlando, I'm really glad you asked it. This is going to help a lot, actually. So you don't want to be too jumpy. You don't want to be you first of all on the resume, and then I can have classes. I can show you zillions of resumes, but I have to get the consents from applicants to do that, to share resumes. But I'm not gonna. But what I can tell you, I can have another session for these full long sessions, and once we have the consent to do this, then or I can mock up some resumes for you to see what the problems are and don't do this. But on a nutshell, on a steroids, make sure that if you work for a company for a month, don't put it there, right? It looks terrible. You don't need to, because you're talking about experiences. Outline experiences that you've done on your resume. You don't want to say your account receivable for a company that you work six years and you just do two bullet points, or it's just vague. Or you don't want to work for a company that is you work for 6 months and you have 20 bullet points. So you got to make sure that who you're hitting, and then make sure the name of the company is always there. What I see as a red flag, a lot of people that I wouldn't trust, is they don't put the name of the company in there because they say it's confidential, it's not a non-disclosure agreement. There's no it's BS. It's a complete BS because resume, you're allowed to name the company. So if you're telling me as an employee, like I cannot, there's something shady about you, or you did something wrong, that employer let you go and you don't want to disclose it with us, guaranteed failed. And you don't have the dates. If you're an accountant, you don't have the dates of there that you're working with, dude, out. If you misspell yourself, like in your resume, there's a misspell, out. As an accountant, you're not paying attention to details. Doesn't matter if it's a number or if it's a word, out. So this is the how paper screening goes. We have a pre-paper screening. So how the system works is that, back to what you say, Ronald. So we have like paper screening, pre-paper screening. So we ask for video introductions. We look at the energy. We look at the communications. We look at the person. If they have the thing, do never record yourself from a phone. Never. Working remotely, if you don't have a camera and a laptop that you really want to apply for an online jobs and working remote, and you've done with your phone, you are the failure, guaranteed that. So never do that. And then so we look at the energy, we look at how it's been recorded, we look at the background, we look at communications, and then once that's done, then we get into JD. I mean JD and I'm sorry, resume, and those go along. We see how the person is. We save ourselves sometimes. Believe it or not, we get a lot of applicants. You look at it, you're like, holy cow, what are you thinking? So we vet that pre-screening, and the screening comes in where we get the initial interview, and then we want to see the person who's done the resume is actually matching the person like that is on that video introduction. And then is the accent done with AI? Because a lot of resumes, believe it or not, I get a lot of video introductions done with AI now. The sound is terrible, and then we get on the call with them, and they have the monitor. When you're doing the interview, do not read off the screen. There are a lot of people are cheating the systems now. They're reading off the screen and then answer questions. AI keeps popping and telling them, very obvious. So we fail a lot of people in that category. Our recruiters are experts. I mean, they're senior recruiters. We go through probably 300 to 400 resumes a day. So once we scan it, we see it. And then once the resume is good, initial interview is good. The initial interview normally asks the person his general questions about accounting. And then I or one of our upper managements, for depending if it's a CFO, any chief roles, I get on calls like US tax. I had to get on a call with Chris. It's just another level. I normally get on calls with any chiefs and high levels like Chris. I do get on calls, but then or one of my managements get on a call to make sure the recruiter, we do always vetting. We vet it. We are the hardware of the industry. My attrition rate in my company is less than 5% because we become such a tight community. Make sure that when you're working for US clients directly, they pay you well, because sometimes they lack on. I mean, right now I pay all my team members on time. I normally process the payment a day before without them working on that particular day, because I know it takes 3 days to get their money from Payoneer. but I have a heck of a time collecting money from my US clients. Like my account receivables it's aged, but my accountable is daily. So, all right. Request detailed review. So, Ronaldo, I hope this was good enough for what you asked. Are you open in hiring part-timers? We've already discussed about that, Tessa. If that's okay, I'm not going to take too much time. But if you do need anything in particular, please reach out to me directly, and I'm not going to be taking too much. Same thing. Helen, is there an opportunity? Oh, I would love to. If Lou, if you know construction, I'm actually hiring right now a construction bookkeeper. Can you please send me a resume? Doesn't matter if I'm hiring structural engineers, I'm hiring architects, I'm hiring anything from the Philippines. I'm actually heavy in constructions myself. If you do have constructions, please send it over to me. Entry level, send it to me and then we'll discuss. I do have like Advanced Framing is a construction company. They do framing for construction. So John Ambrose, the gentleman that I told you, he hired a junior. I would love to have. Let's discuss, and then we'll please send me a resume and tell me that we met at Chris's class, and then Nima@revoya.com and Kim at revoya.com. Send us these two. I would like to and Jane. Let me send these 3 emails. Jane,
Okay, Nima, will do. Thank you so much for that.
my pleasure, dear. Absolutely. That's revoya.com. And Kim. Kim is my recruiter manager. Jane is my recruiter assistant manager. And she's a rock star. Both of them are actually. All right. So it jobs. Jesus. And Marla, I saw your text real quick. Yes. Intact is absolutely and exactly. Sage Intact, absolutely. I currently use Buildium for my clients. Will transition to Appfolio, hoping to add more clients. Absolutely. Jess, would you please send me your resume? And then I would love to. Buildium is becoming very Appfolio is taking over. I have actually partnerships with Appfolio. I know I'm very well connected with them, so I get a lot of requests from them wanting to have good people. You're right. A lot of people are walking from Yardi even to Appfolio. Send me a resume, Jess. You have my email there, please. And then I'm constantly hiring people in the property management, constructions, accounting, different aspects of it. How about so Karen asks, how about those who don't have finance or accounting degree? Can you understand the bookie? Absolutely. I already covered this. We do hire people with business, bachelor in business, major like you cannot have art association degree and then doing this unless you have some sort of a certification. Okay, make sure you put that certification that Chris is giving you as something is a school, right? You get certified. Karen, what is your degree in? To be fair, Karen Jean.
It's BSBA, but my
What is
major
it?
is marketing. Bachelor of
Is it
Science in
business?
Business Administration.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, business because in business I got my MBA. So in business you do understand that you go through like some basic accounting courses. That's fine. And then add Chris's and then put this as your on your resume and you have not lied. Put this as a you and then you because now this you're taking additional these classes you're taking, you guys, honestly, by legitimacy, I'll tell you guys, this is a course that they're not going to be teaching in any school. No school is going to teach you this. So if you're going to say major in finance and accounting, you have not lied. You have not lied. You're taking a class from a US tax manager that no one has taught him as good as it could be in any school. I promise you this. And he's giving you a knowledge in accounting that no other instructor is going to do in school because he's doing it out of his own heart for you, and he's gonna do every instructor, professor that you see today's, they're underpaid. They're not gonna do what Chris is doing. Put that in there with major in finance or accounting, major in accounting, and then put that certificate. You have no light. Don't fake anything. Absolutely. Business majors are, as I mentioned, I hire people in business with finance degree. This is a degree. This is a major. This is the major you're doing right now. You're going through classes that it would be, you'd probably getting more hours done than you would have done in your major that you had taken only what, probably 24 credits. You know, and yeah, please do that. I'm not saying you're lying in the resume. You're being faithful. You're doing it right. But you're here with us today. You have to get the credit for it. And you're not lying. You're learning. That shows a lot of compassion about you already. Just wanted to check to see if the role requires strict 8-hour shift or if it's more result based depending on that. Honestly, Jessica, it really depends on the clients. I'd say like bookkeeping is a lot result driven. People who hire people, they just want to, I know if I were to be paying X dollar amounts, the result for me is to have the books done. But can you tell the client that I'm working 8 hours, that I'm paying you 8 hours a day, and then you're only working 4 hours to get it done? As a client, I'm not gonna like that. Because if you could have done this in 4 hours and you charge me extra 4 hours, then why am I paying you something that is not, it should have been, I'm overpaying you. So it's a very tricky question. Like crazy, one of the tax accountant that I have, he doesn't care how much, he's very lenient. My other client that I have, she's crazy. Like she does not care about what it is. You gotta be working, and then they'll report you to us if you're not present. Oh my God, she's not responding. And I'm like, okay, I mean, I get it. They're working the books. So make sure if you do that, be transparent. I don't understand, but 8-hour shift. If you're getting paid for 8 hours, then why wouldn't you work 8 hours? There's always things to do in accounting. That's my thing, right? If it's not, then go back to your client and be like, is there anything else that I can do? Is there anything else that I can do for you? Because honestly, you're paying me 8 hours and I've done this and your books are good. Here's what it is. If there are any things I would like to do, it's all about honesty and integrity. It's so hard to find honest people. If you have an employer and you've been honest with it and they cut your hours, find someone that matches your characteristics. If you're an honest person, what kind of business would you be great to start? A newbie, zero experience in accounting world. The beauty of what you at right now, it doesn't matter what business, every business needs accounting. So get yourself in a junior site, get into yourself in a data entry world of accounting, and then get started from there. We've already discussed that. Is money.com, no, Mary Chris, is ClickUp. We customized it. We have a different ATS system, but our project manager is ClickUp. It's fantastic. Misha, my girl, she's in the Philippines. She did this automation thing. She killed it. Yeah, it is. Yeah, like Shaw said. Shit. What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on requiring remote accounting bookkeepers to use time trackers for full 8-hour shift, even when tasks can? I think we covered this many times, but I'm just a little more to be this is that as an employer, if someone is time tracking you, they're very restricted people. They want to know the money that they do. A lot of companies, I mean, you're in the accounting world, a lot of people that are in, if they get to that itty bitty things, there are two things. They're either very aware of their expenses, penny to penny, or they have no idea and they have trust issue. People don't know they have trust issue, right? So either way is a problem. Because if I have any penny down in my business and I know if I'm paying this as an expense for this dollar amount according to this, and now I'm paying it $8 an hour. If it could have done within 4 hours, I don't need it. So you're not going to last in this company. The second is that the person is having trust issues, is doing it, and then they're going to be constantly checking your time tracking and your mouse, and you're not there. It's just not going to work out. Like, you got to find the clients that is a result driven. Yeah. But a lot of people who trying to kind of take a shortcut, and they're working, they know the job is 8 hour shift and it doesn't require anything, and then the clients doesn't say much, they're gonna end up losing their jobs, because the clients could be result driven, but there will be a time the client is gonna call you and you're gonna be at the family barbecue and you're gonna lose your job. And it's happened. A lot of people are lenient. They don't call you for like a month because they think you're getting it done and it's result driven, and they're doing it, and they call you once, you don't answer. Then they call you twice, then you don't answer. Then 3 times you're on a Zoom, like you're doing something else, you're not answering. Then you're gonna get in trouble. We've seen a lot with that. We had a maintenance coordinator. She was a killer. She was getting her job done, but his manager Gary said, "We don't want her. Sarah she's never available," but she was getting it done. But they want to get on calls with you sometimes, so you got to be available. But having said that, reach out to them. Say, "Is there anything else that I can do? I'd like to be able to participate." It's a tricky one. Maybe they take the hours away from you, but at the same time, they can catch you if you're not around. So I wouldn't. There's so much need in accounting. It's a full-time job, depending on you don't want to work for a company who does not have 8 hour shift things, anyways. Had to get linked to Nima. So our company is called Revayo.com. I don't want send an email. People who are here, I process it differently. Don't apply through the website, because then there are a lot of people applying on a website and different sources. Then you get mixed in with them, and I'm not going to be able to remember everyone's. Please, on the subject line, when you do this, say Chris Ayada's class or student, however you like to call it. At least I can use that as a reference. So I'll put, we process you a little bit more vetted. So it's a little bit different. How can we position ourselves in an environment where racism might be present? How can we position ourselves in an environment where racism, okay, Eleanor, how can we position ourselves in an environment where racism may be present or may not be present? You want to position yourself when there's racism? You would never know. The answer is you will never know. May be present?
Yeah. Yes.
Well, okay. So we had a guy we hired, so you never know. Right? Okay, first of all, there are two ways of looking at it. If the owner gets on a call, can I tell you one thing? So we have a company called J&M. I'll tell you all the names because I'm comfortable with my clients. So they came to us, they hired, we have probably like I think 9 people with them now. And then they started from an assistant property manager. They hired one they hired one maintenance coordinator, and then for one of the guys, and then they hired 4 maintenance coordinators, and then we added leasing coordinators, and then we added 4 maintenance coordinators, 4 leasing agents, and then 2 assistant property managers on top, and then one of the leasing agent left. So then we started seeing a trades of turnover, high turnover. We were replacing. So I got on calls with my teams, and I said, "Guys, what's going on?" They said, "Louis, the manager, he's racist. He hates Filipinos." And I heard from every single one of them, they felt the same. He was talking down on people. So we talked to the owners, and we fired Luis. And I got an amazing gentleman who is managing now, who's not racist. Can this happen to every company? Is there racism? Honestly, if you were to be working for American company, there's no racism. Period. Who are Americans? Are a bunch of immigrants. You're not gonna be really facing much with racism in the US because Americans love Filipinos. Do they have some sort of racism towards Chinese people? Honestly, with social media and then with after COVID, it has been a little bit of problem. Do they have any problems with India? They do, because of scams with social security and everything happened from India. It unfortunately it's sad. I've got a lot of great Chinese partners. I've got amazing Indian fellows, brothers, sisters I have. And with Filipino, you should not be worried about that. Americans love Filipinos. They love the culture. I can bring Americans here if you would like me to, and then we discussed that with Chris to, if you'd like to be able to ask questions from my American colleagues for them to be able to welcome you guys. That's something that we can do. You're really not going to face that in US much versus UK, you may, and Australia, you may actually hire. There's a little bit more racism going out there from what I've heard from. We have a lot of people that we hire, and we never had any racism issues, zero, beside that case that I told you. And the gentleman was not American. I'm not gonna say what country because that country is beautiful. He just had something against Filipinos himself because of the culture of that country himself. But so could you please share the best way to apply for bookkeeping roles? I'd like to connect with you here on LinkedIn. Jessica, please go ahead and add me on LinkedIn. I'm Nima Sabri. I'm LinkedIn Revaya. I'm there. Every one of you guys, if you guys would like to add me, I'd be more than happy to connect with you guys. You just have to remind me where we met. That would be great. We see a lot of applicants throughout the day, but this class, I'm here at 6. I adore Chris and I would support Chris. So we treat this you guys a little bit different, and I say that. I say it 100%. I'm not gonna lie. I'm just as straight as it gets. I'm interested. So MD Ashudo says, I'm interested for remote bookkeeper. Absolutely. MD, please send me an email if you could. I would be more than happy to see if I could do something for any of you guys that likes. If there, I'll show you guys a couple of roles that I have. Actually, I'm looking for a good account receivable with zero backgrounds. And then if you have like consumer packaged goods, it would be great. So if you have that under your belt, please send us three your resume. I would love to have that. And then there are other senior account bookkeepers that I do need that are more on the account property management. I'll show you my roles that I have with accounting. Thank you, Nima, for joining. Marilyn, it's my pleasure joining today's session. Thank you so much. I'm very excited to be a part of this team, and it's blessing in sky for me too. As I said, it goes both ways. It's my pleasure to be here. All right, if you could share just one power lesson from your journey with a minute with a mentee, that mentee meaning mentor, or with one of the person that I mentored. I have a lot. If you want me to, I can bring my team. I'm actually mentoring a lot of I met my own family members in my own team. I would love to have my people, coming and talking about our company's culture and everything that there is. Ours is different because our internal is a little bit different. We keep it different with cultures. We have Tuesday sessions. We talk about our families and weekends and stuff like that. Not every client is going to do that. My thing is that respect goes a long way. And if you could find someone, a good person that is gonna be that client for you, I'm very in particular about clients that I get. I actually disqualify clients because it just, I think life's too short for me to deal with people that we have onboarded people, and then clients that we have offboarded clients, because of their things. Company culture is very important. We keep it very, very tight in the family. But you know, I don't want to talk about myself, but if you ever want any of my team members to come and speak or educate you about hiring processes or teaching you about interviews, like, I would love to have Jane, Jonah, Ruth, Rose, Joy, Kim. I mean, I would love to have them, and they're in the Philippines. I would love to have them to come, and if you guys want to have one-to-one session or like a class or in like a QA to ask questions about interview processes or getting that fear out of yourself or asking questions, I'll do that. And you can ask about, they're over there from them. I think I don't like talking about myself, to be honest. But yeah, I think it's all about I take the time to train the culture of the company, and I think it goes a long way. And once they understand who we are, and we just become in sync. So it's that. I thank you for nice compliments. Jones, hi Nima. Nice meeting you. My previous role is property management assistant, where I process invoices, account payable, data entry. Currently, if there are any opportunities to fit my background, do you accept part-time employees? We don't have anything open right now, Jones, for part-time. Send me your resume. I'm not going to take everyone. Send me. Data entry is always needed in property management. Normally, generally speaking, they want full-time. But send it, you never know what the future holds. We can always keep you in our applicant pool. My friend is an architect graduate. Can she apply? Absolutely. We have a couple of architect roles, but architects is very is vast. Arnold, please, yes. And then have them to say, it was referred by you during the class. When it goes to architectural work, it comes down to many different softwares like Revit, AutoCAD, and depending on, if they've got metal, aluminum, depending on what expertise they have, and then we'll go from there. But absolutely. Would you recommend that we have ATS friendly resumes? Actually, absolutely. Dexter, beautiful question. Yes, please do. I hate to say that, but there are two ways of approaching things. There are people who are applying for, and that can go, there are two different candidates. They're mass shooters, we call them, and they're interested candidates. The mass shooters ones are the ones that they're going to send the same video introduction and the same resume to everyone, see what's going to stick on the wall. The mass shooters' chances to get the job is very low. It's quantity versus quality. If you've done your study about, apply to 10 jobs, study them, tell them they're a good fit. It's not always about getting the job. The company, then you become a grasshopper, we call it, jumping from one job to other. Do your study prior applying for that company, making sure the company is the good company that you apply to. And if you're taking that much time, look at the JD, create a minute and a half video introduction for that particular job, the resume, give it to chat, get the JD, upload your resume, and be fair. Say, based upon my experiences on this resume that I have, please create me a job like resume for this. If it's a good company I want to apply for, do not lie, because all ATSs are AI driven. Because when I get a resume, you want me to do, okay, why don't I show you something? Now, I'm not going to show you any applications, but I'd like you to see. I'd like you to show you. I'm not going to share any resumes or anyone because I don't have when normally once we get it, right? Let's say That's it. Construction. This is a role that I was telling you. Construction bookkeeper. These are some of our active roles. And then we'll see. We have part-time bookkeeper. Actually, LBN investment. I don't know how much. Please send it to me. Like these are some of the accounting. Actually, property manager. Yeah, you have some. You see, but let me go for a bookkeeping construction. Actually, let me do this real quick. Job board. So you see, AI is telling me 70% match, 75% match, and then 85% match, right? So it's gonna say 75% match. Okay. So it does, I can't really, I'm very limited with showing you, but AI shows us what it is based upon the job description that it does have. I wish I could, let me see if it does say, if it brings her personal things, I'm not gonna show it. Actually, it's showing some personal. I'm not okay. Anyways, yeah, it does match because it like we see it, right? We do see the match prior getting this. So it's very important for you to be matched first. And this is one of the screening that it does. And then yeah, definitely. So I just wanted you to have a view of what we look at on the back end. It really, once you submit it, it tells us exactly what you meant. And then it comes down and it tells us about the skills that you have. So it's very important to see like we have many different tools that it tells us screening. The pre-screening is very different. Another things that I want you to know about the specifics that you got to keep that in mind is that for instance, so their applicants once, let's say client email campaign appointment center. Let's say these are just open up. Okay, so let's say this. When you do see it, it gives ratings and it gives a feedback based upon your resume, and it says top like your skills. It grabs it and it tells us exactly what your skills are based upon what it is, and it gives us a whole summary. This is our pre-screening, and then it tells us exactly the strength that you have, and then it comes to jumbo and it rates it better. The 8.3 would be so 9-10 clients, I mean confidential. So it really tells us truly from the JD who you are. So your resume is very important. Your video introduction is very important. So that's basically it. The answer to your is absolutely. Do you have requirements for interior designer right now? We don't, Annalisa, for interior designer. We're getting a little bit off topic. Interior designers are not someone who I have. Interior designers would be always needed. Send me your applications along with your portfolio. Then I'd be able to submit some of your applications to your resumes to some of your video introduction resume and portfolio. Then I'd be able to maybe endorse. We'll get on calls with you and then maybe endorse you to some of the construction companies. It's always needed. No one has asked me yet, but definitely we have a lot of, we do have. Nima, thank you for it. It's my pleasure. Absolutely. Jenny, was my pleasure. Eventually, I'll be transitioning to full-time bookkeeping once I get experience. Confident enough. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Please, Jen, your mental health, you come first. Okay. It's very important, especially, if there's a family or anything. Ronaldo, I really do believe Chris is, there's a Chris angel, and this Chris is Chris Ayala from heaven. So he's magician. Our Chris is, yeah. So absolutely. Do I hire US tax preparers? I mean, you have no idea what the shortage is. US tax preparers, this is something that you're really gonna be. That's a niche. If anyone wants to get into a good niche, I would say like get into tax. That's because if you're a good bookkeeper and knowing accounting, and then you can just do books throughout the year. A lot of CPAs and firms, they do bookkeeping throughout the year, and then during off seasons they do bookkeeping. During high season tax seasons they do tax, and then there's some clients that do it every quarter. It's always needed. It's such a demand, and no one really caters to them. That's a fantastic niche, and this is what attracted me when Chris told me, said, "You are a genius." So definitely, if I were you, I would take advantage of the taxes and accounting both. Taxes would be, I think taxes you'd be very. So what we normally do, we'll discuss about it. So Dominic, I'm gonna give Ronaldo. I'll get back to this. Dominic, Hainima, what industries, types of clients are you likely to appreciate? The bank internal auditors. What types of clients are most likely to appreciate a bank internal auditor or compliance background transitioning to a remote bookkeeper? Any industry. Any industry would need a good keeper. It doesn't matter where you come from. It's just a matter of how good you are. A lot of people have the same knowledge of accounting. Some people, I mean, what you studied in books, in classes is the same. It's just a matter of how good you are to pay attention. Make sure during the interview you're very presented and you letting them know that one of the things that you can like kind of brag about, if you are, and don't lie if you're not, talk about your strength. Actually, and if you're paying attention to details, you're gonna learn it anyways. Like, unless it's a company that it doesn't have anyone to train, and then they want to hire you as someone experienced in that niche. A lot of 9 out of 10, it comes down to the softwares. People are coming to us and asking us if you can find me with someone with experience in QuickBooks, Zero, mainly QuickBooks, or Yardi Appfolio. It's more software based than industry based, if you're asking me. All right, Amy. So hi, Nima. I specialize in payroll and have hands-on experience with ADP. Great. I love to hear if you have open positions for payroll. Normally, Amy, I don't right now, but there's a good need for people who are familiar with ADP. That's a great software. It's the largest payroll system. But what I would say normally, generally speaking, a lot of times payroll has been switched to more on the HR side than accounting. So any open position, please will send your resume to me and say, Chris, I promise you, I'm gonna have someone to reach out to you, and then I'll get on a one-to-one call with you if needed. I don't want to be taking up too much, but I can give you guidance of what you need to do in order for you to, maybe be able to house yourself somewhere. But it really depends on your communication skills. Hainima, most of us are here, seasoned accountants in the Philippines. I know that, and if one person knows, I think I know it deeply how seasoned how smart and seasoned my Filipino fellows are, who are aiming to transition to working from home jobs. Would you love to? We would love to be a part of your agency. I would love to. Absolutely, I would love to. Please send me your um it's hundreds of you guys, and I have to have probably dedicate 12 my people to vet you guys or do figure something. But what I normally do before I go crazy, honestly, is I gotta have Chris to do the vetting for me. I'm gonna be very honest with you guys. Certain niches like architects, things that are out there that she's asking for architect work, interior design. Yeah, talk to me. But honestly, Chris is the one who's gonna endorse to me from you guys' things. For bookkeeper, accounting degree, like like any bookkeeping that is in a property management, it's a whole thing. But I would say stay on tax, and then at the end of the day, Chris has to endorse. I'm not endorsing. I cannot endorse, but Chris is gonna do the vetting for me. That's basically it's then we know who is good, and then not only it goes a long way, but I'd be more than happy to help if things are needed to be urgently. Talk to Chris first. Have Chris to send. Chris, would you be able to do that? Is that the right way? What is the right approach for me to do this? What would you recommend? What do I do?
Um, right now, if it has something to do with books, you're right. If it's related to books, tax, I can help you vet. Outside that, they can go direct with
That
you.
would be
They got your email and
absolutely
a couple of your
anything.
staff.
Yeah, anything outside of this, or or if anyone has an AR with zero background, let Chris know, and then we'll go from there. Honestly, one of the main reasons that I'm very blessed for Chris to have this program is to get vetted people, to see dedicated people, because I can get applicants. I have no problem with getting applicants. Getting applicants is for us is not difficult. And you being in Chris's class, being here today, it shows a lot. And then once it goes through Chris, it would be much more vetted. And I think it goes a long way. But if just reach out to Chris for accounting things, I'd say it would be. I would love you guys to I would love to have you in my family as well. It just has to be, I can always work backwards. I can always send your or call colleagues and say, hey, I've got an amazing accountant who's looking for this. She or he's like that. This is this. She's been recommended through our institution. She's gone to our classes. It makes a whole different ballgame. And I say it's so different that I get like applicants in my system that I don't know rather than our own institution. I call this my own institution. I really do because, I'm blessed, even though it's not mine, but I do call it. When I call clients, it is my institution. We partnered with Chris. So it makes a big difference that I say I've got someone from our own rather than I just found this applicant. I mean, the terminology, even that is very different. Do you hire, Nima, do you hire someone who's outside of the Philippines? Mitch, I actually do, depending on what country and what the restrictions are. If you're in Argentina and or any other countries that it falls under the laws that you can work as a contractor, we do. We have lawyers in the Philippines. We know the laws really well. We have a team. We have so we are part of like we have it inside out. Um, Mish, are you on the call right now? Can you just 1 minute? What country are you from? If you're from India or Pakistan, I could, but I'm not sure what country you're from. Okay. So let me know, Mitch, if you're around.
Mitch is saying she's from the US.
Mitch is from the US?
Yes.
Yes, Nima.
Okay, dear. Hi, dear. Pleasure meeting you.
Hello.
Mitch, absolutely. So where in the US are you?
From California,
And what city in California?
Stockton.
Tustin?
Stockton.
Is it in Northern California or Southern California?
I think it's north.
Okay, that's why I don't know.
I'm
I
not
live in
familiar.
Southern California.
Sorry. It's like
Sure.
Sacramento.
Mitch, I don't know if anyone is looking for anyone in the US. Then you have to be an employee of a company. So it's a whole different processes. I hate to say I can't. I would love to. You really don't want to go through me if you're in the US. There's no point for you to go through me. I mean, you're working for remotes
No, no.
in person?
Just starting. Yeah, just starting.
You're
My
just
remote.
starting your, okay, gotcha. So, okay, okay, can you and I to get on another call, if you don't mind?
Oh, yes.
I don't want to
Oh,
take up
yes,
too much.
sure. Okay,
Okay,
sorry.
dear. I don't know if I'd be able to help. But at least I can give you some feedbacks, if you don't mind. It's a little
Okay,
bit
thank you so
tricky.
much.
I
Thank
appreciate
you.
you, Salman. Thank you. Attending, this is a warm listening. Thank you, sir. It's my pleasure. It's our pleasure to do. Thank you. It's my pleasure. Hiring staff accountants, Cebu based, 200 to 1400 CST, did mentor benefit apply here. Yan Yon is, I think, advertising in his class. Interesting. They're getting into these things there. Okay. Chris, Yanyon, I don't know what Yanyon is sending.
Yeah, sorry Nima for cutting you because thanks Nima for your insight. So I was about to raise my hand. So I was also in your shoes. I'm actually an agency owner. So I agree on what you said earlier. So I just have to add something. Can you confirm to me how hard to hire people right now rather than looking for a job?
Say it one more time, dear. I didn't catch that.
How hard hiring people right now rather than looking for a job? How hard it is hiring a good fit on the company and the role rather than looking for a job? In your
I'm not.
perspective.
I'm not following what you're asking.
So,
Honestly.
so sorry. I mean is how hard it is hiring people right now, especially your some of your team members is here as an HR practitioner. How hard it is hiring people than looking for a job.
Who's looking for a job?
Those people who the attendees, right? Because the topic is more on looking for a job. So, in the perspective of an employer, how hard on our part to look for the right candidate?
It's very difficult.
Yeah, that's it.
No. Yeah. Now I understand your question. It's very difficult. It is absolutely difficult. It is easy to find candidates. I mean, there's once you send it, there's hundreds of applicants you get, as you know. But it is so difficult to get a good candidate to someone who's vetted, showed, consistency, to show, they're gonna be participating, they're taking their time to come one step over. Absolutely. But this is a great class, by the way, is because it really shows that it's a vetting system for me, right? It is a vetting system for me. I do see the fact that if you're here on this call, if you're doing something for your life, if you're not on your phone on TikTok, you're adding values for yourself to yourself. It is something that I would love to meet you. I would love to get to know you, especially if Chris says, this person has always attended. I got on calls with him or her. I know her, I know him well. You should give her a shot. I do that. Very difficult to find great candidates across the world, especially in the US. It has become so challenging to find great candidates in the US. This is why a lot of Americans are going to the Philippines, because they're great candidates in the Philippines. So to to what you mentioned, 100%, dear, you're in the same thing as I am. I cannot disagree with you. 100%. Absolutely. And what is the name of your company?
Task-wise, the agency also tie up with Alabama outsourcing firm. So we have also the same problem looking for the right candidate. So I just have to add on, sometimes during the interview, you also have to ask the right questions. You can also choose your right client. Not all the clients that comes along your way, your application, you should go, because at the end of the day, the client is also spending some trainings, resources, money invested on you. At the end of the day, you will resign because you're not a good fit. So Nima is right. You should ask all of the questions: salary, the time zone. I put it, tools, the report, especially the manage expectation when it comes to outcome. Remember, every week you have to ask what's your deliverables, what outcome do you want, what format do you want, client. So at the end of the day, you can also, yeah, you mentioned there's a flexibility. If the client thinks that you can do it alone without less supervision, for sure they will go for the flexibility. Yeah, that's my add value on that.
I appreciate Yanyon. Thank you so much for adding this. Absolutely, like she mentioned, it's very important to be able to ask questions. Definitely. Thank you so much for your input. All right. So, and as she's hiring good people as well. Look at the rates. And then if anything goes along with you guys, please feel free,
All direct
multifamily.
client. I'm a headhunter, so I'm not an agency. So the client gives all the good benefits and also the salary that you wanted. All you have to do is just good communication skill. As Chris always mentioned, you have to be proactive and collaborative. We ask question as many as you can, because that's the US clients culture. They very upfront. They don't want play around, and there also some transparency and honesty, and also on working environment.
Amazing. Absolutely. And then Yanyon, if you'd like to stay in touch with me, I'd be more than happy to partner up with you as well. I'm always open to meet great people, Stockton. Yeah, you are in Northern California. Okay, yeah, just if you want to partner up, I'd be happy to actually to give you some roles
Sure,
to see
sure.
if you'd be able to
Thank
help me.
you.
I'm looking for CFOs. My pleasure. Absolutely. And we are in
I
the
have a
same
lot of
industry. We have
candidates, but the problem is the right candidate. The time zone is always the struggle for us. So I don't know how we can negotiate to US clients the time zone, but I think it can work it out, right?
anything, absolutely. I mean, definitely. Yeah, for sure. It's doable. People who really want it, we get a lot of candidates. We always ask people if they work graveyard shifts. A lot of the people that I hire, they're either their moms that, the child is sleeping at a time, and then once the kids in school, they put the kids in school, and then, they go and do things, and husband comes back, or the husband's working from home because mom's there. There are values that, or they don't have the right transportation systems, or they don't want to go work elsewhere. They live in a small town. There's not much opportunity. One of the biggest things that I love about Chris is that because he wants to give opportunities to people, to everyone, especially people who live in the rural areas. I think that's a good opportunity for them too. That's something that I'm very admiring from him. They're being able to have this heart and dedicate. This is a lot of time. He's working for free. Who does that these days? So, it really it has to be a good fit for you. It doesn't matter. You gotta make sure this is sustainable. This is the marathon. It has to be sustainable. So yeah, generally, absolutely. Doesn't matter if you work for a US client or not, as long as you know the Zero or a QuickBooks familiarity, and accounting. It doesn't matter who you work for. At the end of the day, it's the same thing. Um, um, Geraldine, it's my pleasure. Thank you so much. It's my pleasure to be here. I think I covered everything. So
Yeah. You've been so generous with your responses, Nima and Ria.
absolutely no, it's
Appreciate
it's
it.
it's just the
I'm sure.
appreciation to people's time.
Yeah, and I'm sure people have been learning, and it's good to hear coming from your perspective, that there really are opportunities. However, we also need on our part, like, it's hard to look for a job. Like the same goes with the question of Yanyan earlier. It's a secondary between, is it difficult to find the best talent, or is it difficult to look for a job? Right? The problem is there's no match. Right? Like people in the US are looking for bookkeepers and tax accountants. Filipinos are really good accountants, but there's just no com skills. The soft skills are just so behind. Let them talk, they won't talk. Ask them if they have questions, they won't ask questions. Why? Because we're not trained that way, right? And yesterday, if I may just share, I spoke with the dean of the University of Bohol, and I told her about the opportunity. And why I personally felt there was excitement from her part, there was no follow through. Well, it's kind of sad because they just don't see the opportunity. They just have not opened themselves to, you know, that they're not supposed to be doing it for themselves. They're doing it for others, right? And the more that we do things for others, the more that the Lord will bless us, right? Not on a selfish perspective, not for, our own credit. And I feel like I'm not getting the support from people that I should be getting the support from, but it should not stop me, right? Because like right now, Nima, when we talk, I felt like we were so connected. We have the same values and same vision. And somewhere along the way, more people like Nima will get connected to us, and we'll see the value that we're giving, right? The value that we have connecting people looking for a job to the right job. You know what I mean? And Yan Yan also, I've been connected with her in the past, and now we're connected or continue to reconnect. The purpose of that is to give opportunity, right? It's to give opportunity because I've seen it myself, right? The reason why I'm doing it is because I have like 10, 15 people who are not necessarily accounting graduates or no accounting experience at all who's now earning 6 digits, and they've only been in the practice for 1 to 2 years. And they learn because I personally trained them, right? And I saw that opportunity, and it's been growing. And now that we've established this really wonderful community, where we're just sharing a lot of skills, and now that also Nima Yanyan reinforced that today, I just hope, guys, that every day that we meet, you become more, you give more of yourself, right? You give more of yourself, because this is a learning journey. This is not supposed to be just one way, me giving my best to you to partake whatever it is that I feel like you should learn, but you should also give back. How do you give back? Participate, right? Earlier when I was asking who would want to lead a prayer, there was almost nobody who would who raises her hand, and Alma did, right? And I remember that. I remember those things, right? Because that means being proactive, right? Being giving, right? Because in life there's no such thing as one way. You want to get, you want to receive, you have to also give, right? You have to take your part. It works this way. And when I ask questions and no one asks questions, it's your loss. It's an opportunity for you to get heard. It's an opportunity for you to get mentored. It's an opportunity for you to be there, to be present, to be recognized. But you're losing it because you choose to be there, not even showing your camera, which I don't mind at all. Not participating at all. You're just like listening. But mind you, guys, the best way to learn is to collaborate. The best way to learn is to ask questions rather than keep on listening, right? And so one takeaway that I have from this session is that, again, Nima greatly reinforced the thing that I keep harping with you guys, that it really is a huge demand in the US, especially for bookkeepers and tax preparers or tax accountants, maybe even tax strategists, right? And the good thing, guys, is that we're giving it for you for free. I'm giving it to you from from a perspective of experience. And all that I need from you is like your commitment and your participation. That fuels me, right? I've been telling you, I cannot just give and give and give. I need to receive something. It may not be monetary, but your participation, you're giving your 100% best, is so much. It means so much to me, because that means I'm being impactful. It's fulfilling to me when I hear more than just Alma. I hear more than just Anna. I hear more than just Hilda. I remember names, right? I told you I am very forgetful with names, but I remember those who participate, who show up, who ask really wonderful questions, right? I remember Dexter Go, right? Dexter Go doesn't talk in. I mean, I think you remember he asked one question, but he participate in the chat and he really asked good questions. I remember those people, guys. I remember those because I know that I'm hitting the right spots, right? And if you are out there, again, hiding behind your camera, just keep on listening and trying to figure out where in the world you will find the courage to ask the question that you have been, meaning to ask. I pray that you will have that courage soon, so that our class would become even more interactive, right? And I don't know everything, right? Like I tell you, I don't know everything. There's also a lot of things that I need to learn. And when you share from your own experience, when you ask questions, or when you're confused and someone else may enlighten that confusion, it may not necessarily be me, that makes the community even more impactful, right? Because again, the community is not me, it's us, right? And we're going to continue to grow because Nima's here, Yanyan is here. There are so much opportunity. We just need to develop ourselves. And I'll leave you with this. We attract, we do not chase, right? And the way we attract is we develop our skills and our character, right? So, so much from my end, but we'll see you guys again tomorrow. Nima, thank you so much for the time. I know you wake up early for this, and this is not gonna be the last. I am sure this is not gonna be the last. We will be connecting more with your people.
Absolutely.
That
Anyone that you'd want me to bring in, Chris, I'd be more than happy to. If you want me to bring a client sharing experience, I'll bring a
yes,
client sharing experience with you. If
I
you
would
want me to
love
bring
that.
in candidates, I would bring it. I would love to. I mean, if you want me to bring CPAs who are the clients to tell you, for you to interview, for you to ask questions, you people who are in your shoes doing this daily with CPAs, I'd be more than happy to. This is something that I definitely support, Chris. The outcome for me is I met someone that is putting it out there for his fellows. One of the things that I want to share with you guys, he takes it personal. If you don't communicate, is because that's the least he's asking you. Because there's so much effort that he's put into this. One of the things that I talked to Chris, he said, Nima, I wanna empower my people from my own country, right? So, and I said, all right. I goes, yeah, because I think they're underpaid. They don't have the chance. I want to do this for them. I want to do this for them. He keeps saying this, I want to do this for them. And I said, okay, so how are you making money? He said, I'm not making any money. Who's doing it these days? I mean, let's say he makes $1, right? He's putting, I know what his costs are. We discussed. It's a lot, but he's doing it for you guys. He's doing it, he's putting it out there for you guys. That's his baby. So please, I don't know, man, be there for him, support him. It's not just about you guys getting the job. It's about him being fulfilled also. Please participate. If you communicate, if you do communicate, if you're shy, someone just says my introvert, I didn't see the name. I appreciate you for being introvert. I understand that you're an accountant. Not every accountant is an extrovert, right? I get that, right? I fully understand it. I deal with a lot of amazing accountants who are introvert, but you gotta be able to communicate. Being an introvert has nothing to do with communications.
Sure.
You gotta be able to participate. You gotta be able to do this. You have to get out of that shell. You have to get that shell needs to be broken within you. If your voice gets scratchy once, like on the camera, you're like it's okay, let it be, right? Let it practice it with Chris. Get that fear out of you. If I've told Chris wants me to bring in Americans to these things for you guys to speak to Americans. If there is an anxiety of speaking to Americans, so I mean, he's going that far with it. If you're an introvert, you want to become a little bit much more communicator. I think this is a good time for you to shine for yourself, right? Maybe it's a good try for you to hit that mic and talk on that, and let it be scratched a little bit. It's okay, right? So I thank you so much for everyone. I send love as much as I could as it goes. It's to everyone who's commented. There is more coming. Please give all that love, everything that you said about me. It goes both ways. I thank you so much for having me on this call. I go based upon Chris's request, whatever Chris needs for me to support him to be able to, I don't know, to empower this amazing, amazing, fulfilling program that he does. I'd be more than happy to participate. Chris, you let me know if you want to ask people what they need to have next on their call. I'll bring them all for you.
Yeah,
So
I'll
it's just a
connect.
matter of
I'll message you, Nima. I'll also like to meet with you maybe Monday if you're available. I know it's
I
holiday.
am.
But
It's not. I mean, it's Saturday morning
no,
right
on
now.
Monday it's a holiday, so I'd love to
I
connect
know,
with
but
you
I'm
on
just
Monday.
saying, don't worry about me. I'm on a weekend with you. I'd support you, Chris.
Thank you,
I'd
Nima.
support you
Yeah,
anyway.
don't leave.
Absolutely.
We have a photo of first. Let's have a picture, guys. Come on down.
Oh
Show
yeah.
me the places. Don't forget, and I will post this on social media. Kindly put your takeaways and kindly tag Nima on LinkedIn so you can connect. All right.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Let's go. First,
Your
first,
best smile. Show
first
your
slide.
camera, guys.
Just smile. 1, 2, 3. Hold your breath. Say dollar. Charot.
Say
1, 2, 3.
dollar.
Sana ba palitan niyo yan? Yan. Para maano tayo. Katapusan na. 57.09.
1, 2, 3.
Mm.
Thanks, Nima. One, hold on. 3 more.
Thank you so much.
4, 5, 6, 1. Hold on. Make sure your camera is open. I will post on social media. Then put your takeaways, your golden nuggets for tonight, and say present on the photo. Thank you so much, Nima and Chris.
Thank you,
It was a
guys.
pleasure, guys. Thank you so much.
you,
I
ma'am.
thank you, everyone. Have an
Thank you
amazing
very
rest of the day.
much.
Salamat. Talk to you later. Bye.
See you
Thank
guys
you.
again
Bye.
tomorrow.
Bye.
Same time, same Zoom link. Right?
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank
Bye,
you.
guys.
God bless
Thank you,
everyone.
Thank you so much.
Bye. Bye.
Thank